Let's hoping somebody would. I sure don't.
I can do that.
Rachel, how are you doing? We should have a theme that all of you here bring your favorite sitcom.
That's a little bit of 11 to 2. 11 to 2? Yes, 11 to 2. We're going to have to make an event. Businesses come, so like Austin Bank, we're not going to visit, but like maybe the hospital, Austin Bank, and there's some businesses and we can make like a little finger food, and we go around and we go through like but the food is actually good.
Taste it. You're like speaking of.
Just a reminder real quick, microphones on and off and up close to us and all that good stuff for our awesome AV system that we currently have. Let's start with invocation, pledge, and roll call. LB's going to go up there for us.
Okay.
And Brent's going to do American flag and Heidi's going to do the Texas flag.
Okay, let's bow our heads. Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to you, thank you for everything that you've done for us, Lord God. Lord, we thank you for putting the same card over us today and every day that we wake up on your green earth, Lord God. Lord, we thank you, we ask you to watch over the minds of the members on this board, Lord God. Guide their decision making in the right direction, Lord God. We thank you and let us know that, Lord, what we do, we take care of the people of Cleveland. And we thank you for everything that you do. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, to my far right, we have Darrington Baldwin, otherwise known as LB. Also, the new keynote speaker at Sam Houston State graduation. Congratulations, LB. We have Heidi Sullis, of course, that's our Cleveland Citizen of the Year. And then next to me is Brent McWaters, our Vice President and new City Council member. Now on the very far right, we have Rachel Hall, who's also running for City Council, by the way. Chuck Thompson, who is our Treasurer. Alice Rios is our awesome City Secretary. And I am just John Weeds. Public comments.
President of our EDC.
Well, I'll take that one. President of our EDC. Who we got for public comments? You should come on up. And 3 minutes is Aisha Jones, give us your address and all that good stuff like you're used to.
Okay. Isha Jones address is, that's not the address to the building. My address is 1110 Toledo Avenue here in Cleveland, Texas, 77327. And I'm here tonight for actually 2 reasons. First of which, I do apologize. I was working on a proposal and the contractor did not give me.
Hang on, one second, reports, if you don't mind. David, let's kind of get over the
What?
Yeah, we are talking about the AV systems.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And the contractor did not give me his bid until this morning. So anyway, and then we came here and I said, absolutely, because I treat everybody's money like it's my money. And so I thought it was a little unreasonable. But what I want to tell you about is what we have, some of the things we have planned for this summer and what I need your help with. We have been partnering with AgriLife since we started Tough Kids in 2010. PB now has a new 4-H agent, so we now have 2 4-H agents here in the county. And so we're going to be starting a 4-H club that is not animal related.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
So the significance of that is that we have a lot of parents who say, hey, I can't afford to feed my kid and an animal, right? And when a lot of times they think of 4-H, they think of a cow, a pig, and I'm like, 4-H has so much to offer besides that. But when you look at limited resources communities, they may not understand that. So we want to bring and provide that opportunity. So one of the first things that we are doing, and the first tank has already been delivered, is we're creating an aquaponics system. So we will be raising catfish, tilapia, and I just found out we can actually use shrimp as well. And that will be incorporated within the entrepreneurship class. So I'm really excited about that. They dropped off the first tank, and one of my volunteers said, Isha, there's really going to be real fish outside. There will be real fish outside. So what we're wanting is to have a greenhouse to enclose all of that in. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm not for sure how many of you all were at the grand opening. Since then, we have learned that we don't have adequate airflow from the second floor, which is where our system is, down to the first. So I've had the company come back out. So they sent me an estimate of what it's going to take to basically run a new 14 or 16-inch duct with a new plenum down to that first floor so that we can have even airflow throughout that. Secondly, I know I've mentioned to you all, hopefully on several occasions, that Tough Kids is processing USDA mortgages as a fundraiser. We've had several that have been approved. I hope to be able to one day to teach other nonprofits how to do it as a fundraiser, because we all get tired of selling burgers and fries and all of the different things. But June is National Housing Month. So I have spoken with USDA, and they are excited about the possibility. And what I want to do is actually have a housing fair here in the city, where essentially we can have the realtors, the builders, developers, and allow the community to come in as a whole and explore what is actually available here within the city of Cleveland. I think that would be a great opportunity for the residents, as well as those who may qualify for these programs, because it's an awesome opportunity. For instance, I have a lady right now who I'm actually being able to utilize her SNAP benefits to help qualify her. And she's on disability, but the thing is that you have people who want to own homes and have no idea where they're going to start. And so with so many homes being built here within the city, a lot of the current residents feel like it's unattainable for them. So I would like to be able to see us provide resources to them to where home ownership is actually attainable. So that's something that I would like this EDC's help on as well. I'm not for sure if my 3 minutes are up, and I know you cannot respond, but those are 2 significant things that Tough Kids is needing help on, and I asked to be able to be placed on the agenda for next month, and then I can go into more.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all.
I think that's the only public comments we have, is that correct? Yep. New business spotlights. I know that we invited a few to come, but did not make it. I think, Rachel, did you?
I did. I invited some as well. I got an email last night that they had a conflict in their timing to be here at 6 o'clock today. So I won't, spoil the surprise, but it's one of our new pop-up coffee vendor that is traveling around Cleveland to come and tell all that they're doing. Last month it was a cafe owner. So we have some people that are invited. It's just unfortunately sometimes our time specifically doesn't always match with their availability. But they're there. There's new businesses and they're there and they can use the support.
And I think that was kind of the case with our others also, with just the timing didn't work out on the meeting. Reports, number 4, reports, comments from board members. Let's start with Rachel.
Sure thing. So, of course, as mentioned, today was the first day of early voting. It's more than city council. You also have your school board, and that is something that is beyond our city limits. So, encouraging everyone to get out and vote in their local elections. It's early voting is today through April 30th. And of course, election day is Saturday, May 4th. And one other thing is there's some information available online through our CED, the convention center. I don't know the official name, but the one that does all the community events where they have Clean Up Cleveland coming up soon, right? So getting out and volunteering, or if you're looking for hours for your honor society kids and things to give back to the community. And then also for adults looking to give back, the Cleveland ISD is hosting a 5th grade district-wide career fair, and it's a 2-day event, and they're looking for people who can come in and explain to our youth about future careers, whether it's coming back to work local, business owners, entrepreneurs would be great to go and encourage kids to go that path as well, but they have pushed out things online, and they're seeking the support to have people come in. I believe it's 9 to noon both days. So if you have time, you or someone in your business, to go in and talk about the things you do as a career, then let's go and help these kids be inspired to stick to school and choose a future for their career. But that's May 13th and 14th, and more information is available through Cleveland ISD.
Thank you, ma'am. Chuck, you got anything for us?
I'm not sure who to congratulate. Scott, maybe I need to start with you for the grant that I saw for, $1 million for improvement of the drainage system. So if it was you and your staff, congratulations. I'm not sure how much work was required of that, but hey, very impressive. Congratulations.
It was a team effort.
So good.
We're looking forward to
pass along congratulations. And
Ms. Alice, you got anything for us? No. LB, what you got, LB? Anything? You good? Heidi?
Yeah, Chuck kind of took the words out of my mouth. I just wanted to say congrats to the city as well. That's fantastic. And I just want to let everyone know that on Wednesday, the Chamber is hosting the Taste of Cleveland at the Civic Center, and it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's a really awesome event. If y'all haven't been, you should check it out. It's probably one of the better ones that they have throughout the year. If you buy tickets now, it's $10, and at the door it's going to be $15.
Mr. Brent?
Well, I want to jump on the bandwagon and say congratulations to the city. I mean, this was a very good get. So congratulations, Scott, the team. I know that was a lot of work that went into that, so absolute kudos to you there. And I wanted to say thank you to the chamber. I went to the chamber banquet in the state of the city, and I thought the information that came out of there during the presentation was really eye-opening. There were some really good statistics that Scott shared with the group there. It was very well attended. So thank you to the chamber and the people that put that on. Heidi, I know you're part of the chamber, so I thought that was a well done event. And absolutely echo Rachel. Voting is started. Get out and vote.
And that leaves me, of course, I got a few things, like always, but coffee with the mayors once a month. That is an awesome event to attend. And this last one was no different. It was really, really good. Our chamber luncheon, State of the City, was also really good. I think that our mayor, our Honorable Danny Lee, and city manager Scott Slater did a great job explaining where we're at, where we're going, what we need to be doing, all that good stuff. We really did a good job. Also, we had, all of our EDC was at that event. All of our EDC board, except one, was at that event. And our last city council had 5 EDC members. So I'd like to thank our EDC board for getting out, getting involved, going to these events. I think that's really important. Pam and Tiffany, I know they're not here, but I'd really like to thank them. They've made themselves very readily available for us. If there are any questions we have, Chuck went and met with Pam a couple weeks ago for a while, got quite a few of his questions answered. For some reason, he thinks since he's the treasurer, he needs to have some of those answers. So, rather it be him than me. And he was voted in unanimously as the treasurer, just to remind him. Yeah, just a reminder. I also want to thank the chamber. They are continuously working with us to help build that relationship between us, the city, and the chamber. I think that's very important. I've made that very well known. And I want to thank Victoria and the chamber for that. Scott and I attended the last chamber board meeting. This last one was canceled last week, and we'll be attending those, of course. We also went to the Leadership East Texas graduation. That was also last week on Wednesday. That was very good. We had 2 EDC graduates that we sponsored for Leadership East Texas. Was Stefania Ward and Rona Baker. And Rona Baker even gave us a thank you card that says, to Cleveland EDC, thank you all for sponsoring me for this program. It's an honor and a blessing. Thank you so much. Kindly, Rona Baker. Then we also have one of our own EDC board members, Heidi Solis, that also graduated from East Texas. Congratulations. And that's obviously an endeavor that I'm hoping that we can sponsor a couple more people this year. Scott and I talked about it briefly, and hopefully the EDC can do that. I also want to welcome Emilio Lavario. He is our new EDC/Economic Development Director, or I'm sure it's a different name than that. Community Development, okay. But those are the 2 jobs he's going to be doing. I'm sure we'll do a lot of others before it's over. But I'd like to welcome him. We really look forward to you being here for sure. Hopefully the transition will go really well. Anybody have anything else? No? All good? Number 5, consideration and possible action on the following. Meeting minutes from March 25th, 24, and our monthly financial statement. Everybody had a chance to look at all of that?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda numbers 5 and 6. Thank you. Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brent McWaters and a second by LD to approve the consent agenda on number 5 and number 6. All in favor? Or anybody have any questions on it first? No? No questions? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Discussion of possible actions or possible consideration on the floor. Number 7, wayfinding and gateway master plan proposal by M2L. Is M2L ready for us?
Well, I'll start it off with a little situation outside. If you remember last month, we asked Michael with M2L to come and present to us kind of what exactly is a master plan for gateway signage and wayfinding signage, and he kind of went over that with us and got some direction from the board. He has come back today with a proposal which is in your packet. So again, he is here. He can kind of address any questions that you might have regarding his proposal. He's outlined the different steps. I believe there was 4 steps. I think there's 4 steps that he's presented. He's given you some examples from 2 different cities that he has worked with on what that planning would look like. And so he again is here today to be able to answer any of those questions. If y'all have any before we move forward on that. And so we do have funding in our budget for this. The whole idea again is to get the master plan done and then to budget going forward different aspects of that project and determine what that priority is. You definitely see the different hierarchy and signs. And so be able to put that in the budget to be able to get that done in the upcoming years as well, and to be able to do that plan is very successful. It's a great need for us. Promoting our city, branding our city, marketing our city. It's a good thing. So with that, if you have any questions, Mike is available.
Can you, Scott, just real quick, I think we have currently 100,000 for this year. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want, I mean, I knew that, but I just wanted that on the record.
And what that would allow us to do is we could do the master plan, and then we could potentially, within the time frame of that, be able to maybe do, utilize the remaining funds to do a little bit this year. Of course, working on now to budget to do the next phase for next year.
Absolutely.
So I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah,
Hang on one second.
Sure.
Oh, I was, go ahead.
Okay.
As Scott said, I'm Michael Mile with M12 Associates. I'm glad to be back with you. I wanted just to highlight what I had sent Scott. So I see this as several different phases, and I want to kind of walk through. We took, based on my conversations with Scott and looking at what driving through the city and what I think you all are wanting, and created a first phase that I'm calling site analysis and inventory. What that is we come out, we drive the city, we talk with staff, we look at opportunities, some that you already have, some things that we maybe could be added to your discussion to create what we think would be the framework, like what types of signs do you want to improve. And like I said, I took a stab at what that might be just to kind of illustrate whether it's regulatory signs or gateway signs. After that phase, if you say, well, we don't want to do this many signs, or we don't really want to go here, then that next phase, that gets reduced. So it won't be any more than that. But in terms of doing detailed design, we want to do the analysis first. What are the opportunities? What are the constraints? What are the types of signs you want us to really look at in detail? And then we go to that next step. The third phase is kind of interwoven in that initial analysis, which is a review of your graphic logo, font type, colors, how it's being used in print media, how it's being used in your signage. I think Danielle had given a presentation on your website. How is it used? And one of the things that I talked with Scott after the last meeting was, I don't think it's your intent, and this is what's in the proposal, to start from scratch and redo your logo. But we want to look at it and see what some of the issues that might be in terms of communication, how it relates to your overall economic development, how we would apply it in the built environment in terms of signage and things like that, and go through an exercise as to how we could explore different ways to incorporate that. That would be starting in that initial, it kind of overlaps with the initial analysis phase and also goes into the more detailed design. So our intent would be, once we get to that phase of developing signage, we'll go through multiple options, 3 or 4 options, however many it takes to get to something that we think works for you all in terms of what that family of signage looks like. And that's what's in your packet is a couple of the ones that we've done for other municipalities and organizations. It's not intended that that is a construction-ready drawing, but certainly some of these sign features like wayfinding signs and things that are
simple aluminum blades and signposts, you can take that and give it to a sign company that can do it. So we're gonna look at colors, specific font types, how it's being used, sizes, what do they look like. So it'll be pretty detailed. Depending on what that sign type is, you would have to maybe go a little bit deeper in terms of construction drawings and bid rate drawings. So we want to give you something pretty comprehensive, but we also want to give you options along the way to decide what you want to do. Not only how many sign types, what the sign types are, but what is the actual design. So that's what you see for consideration today. And roughly 3 months, I think, plus or minus, depends on how we go through the process and how quickly we get through options with staff. And but I'm thinking 3 months is probably a good time frame to work through all the different considerations and to sign off.
And I'm assuming that's 3 months from signed contract.
Yeah, so roughly about a month to get out and pound the pavement and take a look at your city and have those conversations. And then another couple of months of detailed design, and then kind of weave in the logo development and iterations, but roughly 3 months.
You know, I tell you, and just where I stand on this, and I think this is a good move for us for this reason. We've been talking about gateway signs for the last year and a half, where to put one, where to put two, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're sitting here deciding where to put one sign, and then maybe we put a second sign. I think that, as we're coming to this maturation of where we want to get to, I think it's important that we do have a plan, that the money that we're spending going forward is all working towards an overall plan to where we can really brand our city. So, and that's just kind of the way I'm looking at it. There is a cost involved, of course, but anything outside of getting a comprehensive plan, we're going back to decide where to throw one sign here and one sign there. I don't think that's the best.
And I agree. I think that obviously this has been on the agenda for probably long before any of us have been on this board. Years. And I think it's obviously time to move forward. If you don't mind real quick, if you go to page number 4 on your item, your breakdown on 1 through 4. That's basically your breakdown on what you're proposing, is that correct?
Yes. So we would not, task 1 is the important one that decides where we go with it. We wouldn't move on task 3 until we make those decisions. If we need to revisit it or need to reduce it based on what you ultimately do. It won't be more than that based on the sign types that I was proposing.
And just so we're clear on this, Scott, we may need you back up there. I just want us all on the exact same page. Who is going to make the decisions on what we're doing? Let me rephrase the question. What are you expecting out of us other than funding?
Well, I do believe that, typically when we've done this in the past, we've kind of created some kind of a committee to where it would mostly be staff, but then also, obviously maybe if y'all can nominate one of y'all as board members to help us with that, somebody that could probably be during the day, have these meetings where we could work with that. Of course, everything that we worked on would then be brought back to the EDC board for final approval. And when we start getting into signs, really we need to get it to the council for approval too. So it may take a little bit longer than 3 months, but a lot of footwork can be done with the committee and the staff working with N2L. But then getting that approval, and we need to come back here first. If y'all agree, y'all like the recommendation, y'all think it's great, then we take it to council for final approval. These are going to be signs. It's going to be out throughout the whole city, so It is marketing the city. I know it's being funded through EDC, but we need to take it to the council for final authorization. The funding for this can be done here at this level. And if y'all choose to move forward, then I can work with Michael and our attorney to get that approved and signed and get that started. But the final approval of the site, I think we would definitely involve the council as well.
So right now, what you're asking for basically is on this is to start with this amount on this one. Correct?
Well, I mean, and again, I think that would be the idea. If y'all approve this tonight, we approve this proposal, we'll work on getting that signed and getting that taken care of. And then, like I said, I'd like to get a volunteer from the EDC that we can work with, so the staff can get together and start moving forward with this.
I'll be more than happy. Apparently the retired guy gets to volunteer when he needs to volunteer, so I'm more
What they
than
call
happy.
volunteer?
Yeah, if I might add also too, this is really dependent on you all. Since that's one of the examples you have in front of you, Mount Bellevue, we had several workshops with council members, planning commission, economic development. We just went through, represented with different organizations and be able to walk through those designs and ideas before it gets to city council or even gets back to you all. So there's different ways that we can do that, and we'll be flexible about how many times we have a conversation. If it's one group of different representatives, if it's multiple times, we'll come out multiple times and we'll have those conversations, and whatever it takes to get enough consensus of the people that would be the most affected by it or have the responsibility of.
Scott, just to be clear, this is my group.
No, this is to a by board.
And then can Emilio also sit in on that?
He has no choice. Or Danielle.
Welcome to Cleveland, Emilio.
And Roger will probably be on that one as well.
Roger's over there hiding, but Roger.
I mean, he's over street maintenance, so he would be the one maintaining these signs once they get implemented, so.
Got a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the proposal by M2L for the wayfinding sign master plan.
I second that motion.
I've got a motion by Brent McWaters to approve the NGO proposal and a second by Heidi Souls.
Let me make a correction real quick, I'm sorry. Before y'all, it's not a by board, but this is professional services, so it's not required to go.
Sorry.
So,
That's right.
just clarification, it's not a by board, I just want to make sure I clarify
Just
that.
wanted to make sure it didn't fall into that.
Right, no, it's professional services.
Any other questions? No questions? So I have the motion by Brent, the second by Heidi, all in favor? Five, all opposed? 5-1, the motion carries. Thank you, sir, very much. Looking forward to it. We'll figure out who all you're getting.
It'll be a packed house.
It'll be a packed house, I'm sure.
All right, on the next agenda item, we've got a presentation by Ford AV for audio video upgrades. One of the things that we discussed again last month was our audio video for the council chambers. Here I talked about the sound and the cameras and the video, of course the screen. As you can tell, it definitely needs to be upgraded. And so we talked about and went over a proposal that we received a year ago from Ford AV, as we were looking at our budget at that time at a city level, look at these upgrades. And of course, the funding wasn't available through the general fund last year, and so we had to not do that project. And as it came up with this board, y'all wanted to look at that again, and so we went over that proposal last month. and y'all decided that you would like to move forward, and would like to discuss a little bit more in detail about exactly what is the proposal, what all is involved, what are maybe some different options that we can consider.
How long? I'll tell you in.
For example, one of the things that I had talked to Scott, which is with Ford AV, and he's here tonight, is, we've talked about in the past about doing a drop-down screen and a projector. One of the things I asked him to look at also is what are the options of maybe doing an LED screen up there. A lot of school boards, a lot of city councils and so forth are looking at going to that terminal or that technology, which there's benefits to that. You have a projector over here and a screen over there, and every time somebody stands in front of it, you can't see the screen because there's shadows or whatever. And there's different benefits. You can tell we've got a projector and it's hard to see because of the lighting. And so there's different options. And so Scott is here. He has provided an updated proposal. Now that's a year later. And I'm going to turn it over to him, but he can kind of go over what exactly their plans are, their recommendations are at this time, hear your input, and then maybe make some of those adjustments. The idea for tonight is to get final direction from you on how we want to proceed. Ford AV is part of a cooperative purchasing group, and so he can redo that proposal to meet whatever we determine as the need that we want to go forward, and then he can bring that proposal back next month for us, and then we can actually approve that the proposal or the contract with him next month, and then we can take it to council for final approval with that, because it depends on what we do. The current proposal is over 50,000, so we're going to have to be approved by the city council. But anyway, with that, I'll turn it over to Scott.
Hi, my name is Scott Birch. I'm an account manager with Ford AV here in Houston. I've given you a proposal kind of as we were chatting about that. I watched the previous meeting, a replay of that, and talked about that proposal. I was one who pulled that one together as well. So we made a revision for this now. So it's just a few pages long. It's what we call a budgetary. It's going to have a high and a low. And given that we're in a discussion phase here, it seemed appropriate to do that. So what we're talking about won't be less than 51,000, but not more than 61.5, given what's on this page. And I thought what I would do is run quickly through this proposal on the page, but I've got a few slides up here as well, so you can associate some pictures and some, some gadgets with what I'm telling you. It may not be just all together clear as you're reading it. Well, I'll tell you what, let's start with this. Just start with the highlight slide right there, the highlighted proposal before we go through. We plan to reuse all the microphones on the dais. They're all Shure microphones. It's all good quality. You can hear, really well. Like I said, we can work with that. That's really nice. Saves you quite a bit of money. We're talking about replacing this microphone with something that's actually a little more substantial. That's more focused toward a voice. This one would be a microphone that's got, something, a wide audio feel to it. And that's why it kind of sounds a little hollow-y to me. We would put a wireless there that was, give a little more presence to the voice, but also handheld, so you could get some flexibility. If, say, you had a presentation or something to do in front where you're going to honor someone, you can actually pop this microphone off, walk over there, and then people at home could hear it on the stream as well as here, in the room as well. Third up there, a digital signal processor. It's kind of jargony for us. I mean, I know what that is, but basically it's a little audio computer that cleans up audio. That's all it does. It looks for feedback, it looks for echo, and it tries to pump people's voices, process them so that it sounds more radio-like, so that you have more presence when you're speaking in your microphones here. As I'm sitting here listening, this evening, I can hear the 4 speakers that are in the room, and everything is kind of echoey to me, just a little bit. And what we've got here is kind of an architectural challenge because of the loft. What we've got is a lot of space up here where, you know, we've got a lot of reverb, a lot of bouncing around audio. It's kind of what you're hearing about that. And I've got something to talk about for that in just a minute. We're talking about replacing the projector and the screen with an 86-inch display. I've actually had this priced out both ways, just as an exercise before I came. And replacing the projector and a much wider screen to match the actual width of what's being projected up there actually would cost you several $1,000s more than just putting up a nice big bright 86-inch screen on that end. It would actually be brighter, it would last you longer, and I think you'd be happier with that choice. What's the next one there? 2 PTZ cameras. So the PTZ cameras are eyeball cameras. You've seen them lots of places. We're talking about replacing the one over here and then the little webcam that's doing the podium duty that's clamped to the front of the desk right there with something more substantial, a camera that can be, that's a true 1080 camera that'll go out over the screen and look really, really nice. And then the last thing that's on the highlights there is to provide you with what we just generically call a live streaming device. Instead of using a PC with some software, this is a device that's actually purpose-built to make a stream. Now, listening one of the comments in the previous EDC meeting, I believe you get 50 people, 50 views on YouTube, but you get 200 or more on Facebook. A purpose-built device like the one we're proposing in this proposal would actually let you stream to both at the same time. So nobody has to make the choice. You just go to YouTube, whatever. So what you get is 250 to 300 views if you add the two together. This is what we're talking about for a PTZ and controller. The controller, as I'm kind of looking at the desk surface there, I'm thinking that maybe that's a little bit overkill for equipment. It's real nice. It's got a joystick and you can play with the camera and frame up a shot. But it gives you a way to do several shots with only 2 cameras in the room. So it looks a lot busier than it, you've only got one person working the controls. But with a camera that can do a preset like that, and that controller will let that camera do what we call a preset move. So you could have a wide shot of the dais, you could have half the dais, that half the dais, each individual person. It's an awful lot that you can do with that. And I'm thinking that may be just a bit overkill for what we're trying to do here. We could do an auto switching camera system. Cameras that follow people who talk. As I'm talking on the podium camera would be shooting me. As you ask me a question, camera over here would be shooting you. So it would follow the discourse as the meeting progressed. And I'm thinking that's a change I'd like to make as I'm kind of sitting and thinking about it. I wish there was more to look at with that, but really it's just a flat box with a screen, but it's a little computer that does live streaming. We pre-program it for you to hit your account at YouTube and Facebook all at the same time. It's easy for an operator to use. It literally is stream on, stream off. And that's it. It uses SD cards, a real simple little media, that you can get at Walmart to throw in a slot in the front and actually record it while it's being streamed out live. So that recording can then be walked down the hall to somebody in IT and they can upload it on the web server so that's available for use. Goes in the archive. It's kind of hard to see what that really is, a wireless mic antenna. I'm kind of looking at what I've got to work with here. This is a little body pack, and the transmitter's in the box here. What we do for wireless mics when we're able to pull them out, and we know it's going to be a roaming mic, like I was mentioning, this might be handheld microphone to take around the room. Pop this off. That's a microphone antenna. So instead of it being trapped kind of in here and trying to transmit out of this box to where we put, you know, the audio processing. We would put that on the wall. And it's architectural looking, it's just a white square, it blends really nicely, but no matter where you are, with the microphone around the room, it's all, you're never gonna lose contact with the microphone. It's just a way to be 100% sure that there's no dropouts. And, you know, it doesn't sound weird, you know, when you're walking around. You could walk around out there even, and you can still hear it just fine. Next one, column style speakers. You'll notice that the shape of the speaker, and it's really hard to see, but they actually come in black and white, and there is a white one next to the black one in the picture. It's kind of hard to tell. They're very tall. They're about 4 feet tall, but they're only about this thin. And they've got speakers, there's 16 speakers in that column, and they're just stacked one on top of another. And the idea is they're very directed, and they're going to be on a mount that would be tilted in toward the room. What we're trying to do is we're trying to avoid broadcasting any sound up. Any way that, with these, for example, those, they're kind of made to put sound in every direction. And that's not what we want for this room, because this is a challenging space. A lot of hard surface in here. There's stone, there's some flat surfaces. We do have some acoustic dampening on the wall, which is nice. But we've got this giant ceiling with a hard surface. And any echo you're hearing, I guarantee, is going from here up there and then back again. And it kind of washes things out. So what we're trying to do with that is put a couple of those up so that we're keeping the sound more in the 10-foot, let's say 10-foot ceiling down kind of space for everybody to hear. And lastly, for anybody who's sitting as an operator at the desk, we would give you a 5-inch touchscreen to do controls. So I'm noticing as we're working here that there's no real easy way to lift anybody's audio. There's no way to kill this microphone if I got unruly. There's all sorts of controls that we would program on a touchscreen right there, but just for example, switching between the PTZ cameras, if somebody wanted to sit and do that, you know, could be, you know, just switch between cameras to go out to the screen, system power on and off, room volume for the speakers, individual mutes for the microphones and this microphone. So we've kind of gone away from a lot of twiddle buttons and, you know, panels and that kind of thing. We're sticking to really what is a very, very nice iPad on a table mount that we can program and we can make it do pretty much what we need to do with custom controls. We can go into more detail on the proposal, but basically it's just kind of, you know, boiled down to there will be an equipment rack, of course, to hold some things. The rack can go anywhere. It could go under the desk. It could go in that room in there. I took some photos of that wall. And we can actually stick one on the wall and kind of, you know, out of sight, out of mind with the equipment. One of the guiding principles at Ford is we want you to have the nicest tech that you can have. We just don't think you should have to see it. You know, we want it to be like it was always on the wall or like it was just always there. No hanging cables, no weirdness, no, you know, nothing ugly. We want a nice, clean installation. And kind of the last slide that I've got there is some of the benefits of working with Ford. And we like to think of ourselves as a high-value, low-risk partner, you know, for these very reasons. The first one is that once we do some business with you all, we make an installation, you get a custom care center from us. We call it the Customer Care Portal. It's a website that your IT person gets, your city, you know, manager gets. You have control of. You set the, you know, the password and all, but it's got all your documents in it. So everything we did in here, it's got the equipment manuals, it's got specifications, drawings, photos, software, anything that we did, it's going to go in there. So you got that as a reference. I can't tell you how many times I go to a place and I ask, does anybody have the code for the device that you're asking me to fix? And they said, well, the person here like 4 people ago probably had that. And it hadn't been handed down. And this is a way that we're kind of organizing all your materials in one spot so that as people come and go, and they do, you just hand over, you know, the website and the password, and there's all your information for the next people. Any service that you get from us, because the next line there is a 1-year warranty on our workmanship. It's one thing to have, you know, for somebody to stand here and say, well, you know, you get really swell warranties on the equipment. Well, you do. The 86-inch display that I would propose to put up there in place of the screen has a 3-year warranty on it. 16 hours a day, 24 hours, you know, 24 hours a day, sorry, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week is its warranty. And that's nice. And anybody can offer you that who can give you that kind of a display. Ford, though, will, you know, we guarantee our workmanship for a year. So it's even beyond just the equipment. It's if something we did fails or wasn't done correctly, we fix that in that 1-year period. And that's, believe that or not, is industry leading in the AV business. Mostly it's more common to get a 90-day warranty on workmanship. And that's something that, you know, if you're shopping for these things, it's something to look at. Free training, of course. Anybody who's an operator for what it is we do, we train them after the installation is over. You know, that's, you know, part of the package. And then the last thing, I've specified for your proposal for us to do a quick start guide. So that anybody who walks in here, and let's say that you were out ill or you're on vacation and we have to do a meeting and oh my God, there's nobody around who knew how this stuff works, there's going to be a 1-page laminated set of instructions from Ford on the table. And it's going to be a real easy step 1, turn the thing on. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do that. And then you're up and running for your meeting.
Danielle. Oh, I'm sorry, did that come out loud?
Yeah. So as your training tech people, you realize they're just, you know, they're like gold. You know, it's just you hate to see them go away. And there's so much training and so much education that they've gotten on the job. The proposal itself really goes into way more detail than I just did. And if, of course, there's any questions about that, I'm happy to address those now. And you've got my contact information also. We can certainly fix that up. But,
What's the life expectancy for equipment set up like this?
I think 5 to 7 years is pretty reasonable. The digital signal processor that I'm talking about for doing the audio processing, which is, I didn't even bother to show you a picture of it because really it's just a lump in a box. It's just a box and it has some blinky lights and that's it. But what it does is monitors all the audio and cleans everything up. And without that, things just, you know, don't sound very good. The company that we're proposing to use for that is industry leading. And as they put new boxes out, and this is new technology, these things are updated by firmware. So it's not like, you know, you bought an Intel computer and Microsoft has now Windows 11 and you had Windows 8 or something like that, and now you can't run it. That's not how this works anymore. So the hardware is very, very good, but they make it so that it can be updated in a 5 to 7 to 9 year window for the future.
And if we wanted to add another screen to that, I'm sure that's quite possible.
Absolutely.
Is that 86-inch screen large enough for this entire room?
We believe so. I mean, the only step up from that is a 98, and that's huge. It would take literally 4 install guys to get it out of the box and put it up on the mount. But once you go past 98, then you're into, I mean, I can make a screen as big as that entire wall, top to bottom.
But you believe 86 is large enough for this?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, and it fits the budget, you know, that I believe the budget is. We could go up one more step once you go past 98, now you're not in LED technology anymore. It's not like a screen that you notice that you would be familiar with. It would be a technology that's wafer thin, that's a lot of panels that are put together on a frame, and I can make a custom size. So when we're talking about an 86-inch screen, we're talking about an 86 diagonal. The next step up, once you get past regular TV-looking kind of boxes, it's like 130, 250. I mean, it just, gets way, gets huge. But not to belabor the point, but an 86 is, I think, plenty. And if you wanted the second one, we could put a second one in place of that panel.
Well,
So that-
86, that's 7-foot diagonal, basically, 7 something.
Correct.
I have a couple of questions that is for this Scott over here. My first question is, you mentioned that this was a project that was reviewed by the city, but it wasn't in the general funding last year, correct? As far as audio visual, has the city, they discussed having any type of agreement of splitting the cost with EDC? I think that might be similar to what you asked earlier, or is this the expectation that EDC would fund the whole project?
Those discussions have not taken place at this time. But this all came up as a request from the EDC, and so that's why we presented. I mean, that was we could go through the budget process, but.
Okay. And then the second one would be if it becomes something that is to be funded through EDC, which line item of the budget would it come from? Because it's not currently budgeted in our budget either. So where are we getting the money for it? Because the reason I'm asking this with so many different projects that we're being presented with is we have a whole lot of new projects we're being presented with and moving money quite a bit, and we need to make sure that, we're looking at it as a whole and not piece by piece. So that's my only other question is what line item does it come from?
This would be a new one, so we would have to have it come out of unfunded,
Unallocated in the
unallocated
general
funds that we have left
for the
for this
EDC
year.
funding?
Correct. And so, but because it is a new project, what we would end up doing if we move forward, next month, we would hold a public hearing for that project as well as have the proposal on the agenda. And so you have a public hearing for the project to do that part of it, and then approve the project. Of course, you have to request also to be an amendment to amend the budget for council. And then we would go to council. We would actually do the second public hearing during the council meeting, and then the council would also have to do the budget amendment and then approve the contract.
Okay. So there's some steps to it, obviously,
Correct.
and though there is a need, right, with as far as the audio visual equipment. So then you said that this was a buy board thing.
This is the ARP Bible, correct?
So this is one that, because of the cost, we wouldn't have to go out for 3 proposals because of buy board.
It's already, correct. The Bible-
It's already competitive as presented.
Correct.
Okay, excellent. All right, so that just answers my questions. I'm just trying to figure out with the request where the money is specifically coming from. So, but thank you for your information. And I love the Facebook thing.
Scott, what about the leasing? I know how the leasing payment and the tax implications work in corporations. I don't know, is it feasible for government?
And the leasing options, I don't know that that's even,
Okay. Well, I was thinking, lease auction to buy.
This dollar,
But I thought,
probably.
it might have some tax implications that we could take advantage of, but yes.
Yeah, the proposal that I've made some notes and we'll make some changes, but let's say that this is 99% of what you want on this page. I would go away and come up with a final figure, a quote, if you will, actual bill of materials, about a 20-page agreement that goes over everything you could expect from Ford and we expect from you and vice versa. But to your point about leasing, we would have a lease, at least part of that page would have leasing information on it. We would have an actual figure for you if that was something that you wanted to do. So you could either buy it outright or just do that lease. And I think our leases are 3 years, kind of the standard thing that we throw out. I've never actually had anybody lease anything from me, to tell you the truth. Usually they send us a purchase order and get it done. But
No, understand completely, just, familiar with it in the past and portion of that payment is deducted, so
Yeah.
here it is. Thank you.
So Scott, if we wanted to move forward with this, what do we need to do tonight if we want to move forward with
To get that proposal,
this? Yeah.
I mean, Scott needs direction on what he wants in that final proposal. So if you're good with 86, if you want to go to 98, if you want to put a second screen on that wall, I mean, if you want to, I mean, he talked about, he's already made notes on making some changes. If you're good with all those things that we talked about, there's nothing else. I mean, we talked about last month about maybe having, you know, some
Smaller
monitors,
screens up here.
small screens, so the people up there are looking at the screen, not turning sideways. You know, where they're facing the mic and have those up there. That's not part of the proposal. I know they can do that. I don't know if that's something we're interested in. I'm assuming it's something that can always be added later.
Absolutely.
You know, but that way the people that are on the dais are looking forward at the screen, not looking to the side. Or turning their chairs, leaning this way, and the microphone's over here.
Well, and one of the ways, correct me if I'm wrong, though, with this system, if we choose to go with just as you presented it tonight, with the notes that you've made, is always upgradable too down the road.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whether it be a different screen, whether it be the monitors that he's talking about, we can always add to.
That's right. If I were to put a second screen in this room, I would put it there where the city of Cleveland clock is. So that, given that the shape of the room is that it's, you know, not very deep, you can easily see that as a confidence monitor. You can see what's going out on the screen, or you can see what's on the PC, what my presentation is. You know.
Or, I mean, I'm just thinking, well, would you put one there and there?
Well,
Move the logo,
I
move the
would-
logo over here and have the screen.
We don't want y'all looking at us all the time.
I
Do
don't know.
you know the approximate cost of a second screen? Of course, it's by size, but what are we talking adding to the package as presented?
As
Ballpark.
like the 86, and 86, that's where you're at now.
$3,500 or something.
Oh, yeah, right.
If that.
Not long.
I mean, and still, it's, adding a second screen, a second 86, still makes it neck and neck with replacing an upgraded projector and screen works over there.
Yeah, no, I think that's, she's on the.
And I do like the idea of us updating this system. But I think my only thing about it is, I think this is something that needs to be split between the boards. I think we need to meet with the city board and see if we can split the cost on this. And the only reason I say that is because I've been coming to this boardroom for years, ever since I was a little boy, and I've seen that screen up there. And there's been people that's been here before us that sat on the board and they know that need to be updated. And I feel like that's something we need to agree upon, both boards to split. I mean, I'm not taking away saying that it's not a good idea, but I don't think EDC should just completely cover the cost on it. I think this is something we need to split.
And just for clarification, LB, you're talking boards, the city council board and EDC.
Yes, because I mean,
Just- I know.
yeah.
I know where you're going. I just
Yeah,
want to clarify.
I mean, we all use this, system. Don't get me wrong, I'm not, again, taking anything away from anybody or stepping in your toes. But I do feel like this is something that needs to be split. I don't think this should all be on EDC. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think that going forward, I think right now, the main thing what we need to do is know that we want to move forward. Correct. Which I think it sounds like we all want to move forward. Yeah, and then we can, obviously, I do believe it's worth going to the city and seeing about getting some money from them also. I definitely agree with that. I do believe that this is advertising. This is part of our city. We've got to advertise our city. Rachel mentioned, I believe it was the last EDC meeting, about the live streaming on Facebook, and she's 100% correct. We need to be live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, wherever else we watch. This is what people look at. I mean, you see it all the time. I hear about it quite often. Of course, on 3 boards, but I hear about it quite often on we can't hear this or see this, or, when you look at this on YouTube. And this is part of marketing our city. We gotta market our city for sure. And I think Mr. Thompson mentioned the last EDC meeting, I'm doing all this off memory, but, how many people have we missed bringing their business here because they did go there and see, essentially, what they each other,
Yeah, I mean, there's a cost of
not doing.
not doing it.
Opportunity cost.
Right, it may not be quantifiable. I mean, you've already mentioned that combining the two platforms, the Facebook and the live stream, we've garnered some more hits, but, I just think there's a cost of not doing it. So, there you go, 2 cents worth.
So, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, and also too, I feel like the city council, it should be an issue that we bring this to them, because I know they know it's an issue with the screen, and it will help the people out in the audience, so they can see the words better. After a while, I'm doing like John Wooden wearing glasses. So, I'm just saying, but.
Wow. French fries. That's wrong under that.
Even to move forward with the project, which would be later after public hearings and other things anyways, this is more of a direction meeting, right? But to move forward, the city council will still have to approve a budget amendment because it's not allocated. So you're still relying on the city council, and if they, quote, choose to allocate it from whatever funding that they're using. So there does definitely need to be a conversation. Now, how
Now,
that.
you're referring to the city council reallocating their money with the city, not our money, correct?
Reallocating the unassigned money.
To
Yeah.
reallocate our money from the
Yeah.
$2 million?
Yes, for a budget amendment,
Yeah.
yes.
For a budget, yeah, right, okay.
So you would have to
Yes.
utilize that. But yes, if you want to get the council to split it, then that's not to be something that they're going to have to figure out, determine where that money would come from. If there is even money available now, because it wasn't budget, it wasn't money. We are operating right now in a deficit.
A huge
because of
deficit.
some situation. And so coming up with theirs this year may be difficult, whereas maybe something could be done in the budget process for next October. I don't know if we want to push it down. Maybe that's something that we could work with
Well,
them
I
and
think
say,
that's
maybe
part
we
of
can
the issue.
reimburse, the city can reimburse it over the next year or two with
Can't
budget.
do a fundraiser.
But I think you're, I think
I boxes of candy, I need sodas.
Hang on 1 second. Brent, go ahead.
directionally though, I think we are, most are talking about moving forward, getting that firm bid, like the document that you said with all the different terms in it, with the numbers, and getting back that to us so we can go next step.
So let's just real quick, so I don't think we ever made a motion or anything like that, but we do need some direction, so. Tell me who all's in favor of letting you move forward, get us some current numbers. In the meantime, I will. We'll see what we can figure out on getting, I just don't think we're gonna get any money from the city, to be brutally honest. But, that being said, we'll work on that, but moving forward, we do need, just call us spade.
Well, I'm going to dovetail Paul Beatty's remark.
I mean,
If they're not for it, we can always charge them rent, the city council.
Yeah, we're gonna charge them.
that's actually a good idea. Let's us buy the equipment and then let's lease it back to city council.
I hear the airport board
Every
makes
hour.
money and uses it, so.
That's true. I'm for that too.
I could
You're
get
talking to the wrong
forward.
person.
Tell them every minute.
Absolutely.
I could get one of our engineers to design up a little coin-operated thing for the desk over here.
Everybody in the whole, everybody has to pay for it except this one.
That's right. That's right. You get a passcode for the thing, but everybody else comes up with a bunch of dimes.
And I will
That
tell
might be a
you.
good idea. I actually have one final question, and you might have said it, but I might have missed it. If it would move forward after the council, the budget things, how long does it take as a turnover to actually go, yes, approved, when can we get new equipment? What is the turnover for actually updating? The amount of
Typically
time?
for us,
Completion of the project.
it's 8 to 10 weeks.
And of course, we'll still be able to utilize this during that time.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we don't do anything, and typically, I think we identify maybe a week, 5 days, 3 installers to pull out what we need and get everything, wired up.
Okay, let's take a quick poll, because I think that's all we need. We don't really need a motion on this, do we, or do we?
No, we need some direction, so again,
So let's just
we're
take a
talking
vote.
1 screen, 2 screens.
Oh,
We need
That's
some-
about one, and just make, I
And I think you're going towards too much.
I think if you have a 20-page proposal and you want to put those numbers, that when you said $3,500 difference, you can do like a little, like a la carte menu.
Three options.
Yeah, just add a section.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your quote and then have your options, your alternates below it. So where you just have your base quote with the 1 screen, alternate 2 will be, or alternate 1 will be second screen, alternate 3 would be whatever else, and add your add-on.
But I think we're all agreed it's screen, it's not projector. We're talking about.
It's that same screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
all agree on screen.
Good.
Right? And I think Rachel's got a point that we were talking about it obviously also. I understand where he's going to, but we definitely would like the option of the second screen.
Yeah.
Correct, on there?
Yeah.
And what other options while we're doing this? Any-
I think you should put as many options as you have available on your menu, but the city council
I mean-
also look at it, or your public comments. And I mean that because there's more than one board who does use the system, right? So
Sure.
if we're looking for money, we're looking for their feedback as well. We should present them with the options. With the understanding that my assumption is the base price of the base price, you add on to it, it will increase. So,
Right.
that's how it works, so.
I was
And if you
thinking,
don't-
as you were talking before in the suggestion, I could certainly add little screens to the dais. And
Chuck and I were just
kind of
talking about
in a
that.
cost-saving mode, I could put 1 per 2 people. So 7-inch between the 2 of you, 7-inch, 7-inch, 7-inch. So we're only
Well,
talking
and that
about.
could be an option for a sec, that could be,
Yeah,
in other words, do we do 2 screens or we do 1 screen and then have these screens on the desk?
And when we have a sale on buy one screen, get one free.
I do, but you're not buying near enough.
That was different, so.
That unfortunately gets into price per pound, and okay, well, we can have that discussion.
But everybody else is okay with the processor he talked about, the speakers he talked about. I mean, I think that sounds really good.
Okay, move forward with a couple of different options on a second screen for one option. Another option is screens on the desk. You can, let's do 2 ways there. Let's do 1 per seat and then do another option per, split in 2 per seat. So those, we got 3 options there. You got those, Scott?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got
Yeah,
those
I'm
3?
big,
Okay.
okay.
And I think we're all good with that. LB, you good with it?
Yeah.
Heidi? Grant? I am. Chuck?
Yes.
With Ms. Rachel?
Can we make Scott, just quick, can we make a motion just to move forward with this?
We can if you want it on, record.
No, it's just presentation on the agenda, so it's not a discussion, it's not an action item.
Okay.
But I mean, that's all we're
Just making
needing.
sure.
We're just needing direction.
For record.
How, just for Scott, what's the size of this projection that we're seeing here? Is that a 98, is that an 86? Is
No, it's
that?
bigger now.
Oh, that's way bigger than 86. That's gonna be like 120 maybe.
What you see now is
It depends on, well, I mean, it depends on what corners you go from, but anywhere from 105 to 120.
And so if you went from the white corner on the bottom left to the top right corner, that's how you measure those screens. And that's going to be every bit of 10 to 12 feet. That's, so an 86 inch, just in comparison, is going to be 3 or 4 feet smaller than that.
I just want to make sure everybody understands.
Yeah, 86
That's why,
inches. Not,
look, visually, it
yes,
helps
no, and
sometimes.
that's going to be the difference. Brent's right, it's going to be a lot more brighter, a lot clearer. And doing it that way, you don't have to have 12 feet.
Almost close to.
It's gonna be bigger than that. It's gonna be about 3/4 of the size of the white part of that projection.
And just real quick, one more time, Scott Swagger. LB's point, we are all in agreement, we want to move forward, let's get it going. We'll beat everything else around, but but you definitely don't need a motion and a vote to move
No,
forward.
next month we'll have the final proposal with your laundry list of options.
Yeah, it's only three options.
And the decision airport, John.
Yeah, so broke I can't afford attention. They pay attention no more. What are you talking about?
We could sell that projector at the airport.
Is there an option of maybe some of the, like the airport or the other boards being able to throw a little bit of money into it? I know it's not, because she kind of brought it up. Is there an option, because the airport, I know it does, obviously, it does a
The
little.
only one that has any kind of financing is the airport board.
And
None of the other boards have a financing.
is there,
mechanism.
just a question, but is there a way to get a little bit of money from the airport funds to pitch in on?
You have to talk to that chairman over there, but I think he could probably persuade. That's always an option. That is something that can definitely be used. The airport funds could be used as part of that.
I doubt the airport board president would have too big of an issue with that.
Better pick
Well,
your
on
own.
the side of the table, you
I'm gonna get crucified. Okay, so we are moving forward. You got your three options. Does anybody have any other options they want to consider? No, everybody good? Okay. Mr. Burch, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully we can, well, it sounds like we are going to get moving on.
Thank you very much for the invitation, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
Number 9. We are done with number 8, correct? Everybody? Yeah. Number 9, budget calendar discussion. We don't have Pam or Tiffany, so we got to deal with Scott.
Little,
Emilio's going to quit before you get started.
He's taking a lot of notes.
You play that on
let me get, in your packet, you've got a budget calendar with some highlights on it. I just want to kind of go over this with you. The council did adopt this budget calendar at the last council meeting. It's something that we do every year in April. It kind of outlines the whole schedule of what we're doing. We actually, if you look at the very top, April 22nd, we had our kickoff meeting today. And so we had a budget meeting with all the department heads and went over the budgets, gave them their documentation they needed to get that started, kind of gave some direction, some insight, answered some questions for them. So we are officially, as of this afternoon, in the budget cycle. And so it's about a 5-month process that we go through. We get a little bit of a break. October 1st when the new budget starts, and then we start back up again in April. So it's an ongoing process. So today, Emilio did join us. Danielle was in the budget meeting today with us as well. And so they got their packets, and so we will be starting to work on all that. I did want to present the information to you because EDC does have a little bit of a different schedule than most departments. And so what you'll see is EDC May 27th and June 24th. So your May meeting and your June meeting, we will have budget hearings. And so we will go over all that. We're going to be working with Emilio and Danielle to kind of come up with a proposed budget that we will be looking at as a recommendation for them. And so one of the things that we're going to be discussing, we've heard some comments from y'all, so tonight we kind of want to get some direction, a little bit of that as well. Just I know we've talked about some different projects that we want to look at, We talked about increasing like the facade grant program, we talked about demolition, increasing some of those funds, new things. So that's the stuff that we're going to be putting in. Of course, we'll have our first workshop on May 27th. At that point, you can get some more direction, some more feedback. We can fine tune it. We'll go back on the June 24th, have our second budget workshop with y'all to make the final recommendations, kind of any final changes. Then in July, you will see that July 22nd is the public hearing on EDC projects. So we have to have a public hearing on the budget. We have to have a public hearing on any specific project that we want to include. So I know we've identified some this year, and so if we want to do that, there's other projects that we want to come up with, we will have to do those public hearings. You'll see July 11th is when we have to put that notice of that public hearing into the newspaper. So they can get printed, and then we'll work with Alice to make sure those publications go in, and then we'll have a public hearing. And August 6th, we'll send the public or the notice into the newspaper for the proposed budget hearing for the whole city. So you have your little process that you're going through. The city council has a different one that they go to, but that includes the EDC budget as well. And so when we have the August 20th, is we'll be having our public hearing on the proposed budget. And so that will include the entire city budget, will be that budget public hearing. And then it's also, that same night would be the workshop number 2 for the city council budget. The council's first budget workshop is going to be August 13th. And so that's going to be the first time that they will look at the entire budget, go over what is being requested at that time. And then when you get down to September 17th, this is kind of the finish line, as you say, of the budget process. And so at that night, we will do the public hearing for the proposed tax rate. We will do, and we'll set the tax rate based on the maintenance and operation tax rate, the debt service tax rate, and then we'll also have a levy for that tax rate that will pass. And then we'll also do the final adoption of the city budget. And of course, at that time, it's the whole budget, so we officially adopt the EDC budget at the same time. And then, of course, October 1st of 24 is when the new budget starts. And then there's a whole lot of dates that you can see in there. There's dates of when the tax assessor has to give us information, the appraiser has to give us information. There's all kinds of different dates. You can see at the bottom, there's 6 different legislation items that are there. It's listed at the bottom that are all mandates from the state. They tell you, those different things will tell you when you have to make publication, when you have to do certain things, when you have to make notice, get through the 10 days before, but not more than 30. I mean, all these different criteria that you have to set is all part of that legislation down at the bottom. And so, that's kind of the schedule. It is a long process, but we are officially starting as of today, and so just want to make sure I let y'all know that. And then also, if there's any kind of, as we will be beginning to work on that initial budget that we'll be presenting to y'all, kind of if there's any direction that you would have to like to see us take notes on or something to look at or consider to look into before that first workshop.
I think that our facade grant, obviously, I think we all are in agreement with it, but it needs to be changed dramatically. Other than the facade grant, I know that, of course, next up on the agenda is going to be the commercial demolition budget. I think right now it's at 30,000. I'm not looking at it in front of you, I believe it's at 30. Which obviously is not near enough money, but we're fixing to find out in just a few minutes. Other than that, let's start with Rachel. Anything you can think of on the budget other than those items that we've already discussed?
I have one question about the EDC budget and one about this process as a whole. So fiscal year, not this proposal, this timeline. Scott, do you know how many times the current budget has been amended this year, give or take?
The city budget or
No,
The
EDC budget?
EDC budget through the city council, like, where it had started at one thing, but then there were some amendments throughout the
I want to say
year.
it's just been 2 budget amendments at this point.
Okay.
It was both of them for the skate park, the initial purchase for the skate park, and then when we did the final
The
development.
final match. I think that's the only thing we've done this year.
Right.
Okay, because I know that we had a lot of discussion in September preparing and looking at that timeline. And then I asked that because then my second question, I listened the other night to the report from the auditor, and they had some positive things to say, but you just mentioned that the city is currently in a deficit. So the anticipation that the city, looking ahead, is going to be in a deficit the next calendar year, and as we take into consideration the things we discussed, are we anticipating the EDC's budget being decreased?
It can't be.
Okay.
It can't be. We have 2.7 million, and the way we receive it is through taxes.
And let me clarify, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, you can't.
when the budget was approved, we did not approve a deficit.
Okay.
But we did put in the budget a $400,000 revenue from the county for services, for fire services. However, they wanted us to agree to provide those $600,000 plus of services for $90,000, and the city said, no, we're not going to accept $90,000 for $600,000 of services. And so at that point, we have not received any funds from the county for that $400,000 that we budgeted, and so that's kind of where that $400,000 is, because that was revenue that we were expecting to get in, that balanced our budget, that we have now found out that we have not received at this point. We're still trying to negotiate something and try to get some amount of money from the county, but at this point, we have not received it. So that's the reason why I said, so it wasn't that we approved the deficit. But as far as EDC's budget goes, the EDC gets a certain amount of money from sales tax.
Right.
And so in the past, it's been about $800,000 that we receive from the sales tax. And so that becomes part of the EDC. And whatever we receive stays with the EDC. And so just like this year, I think we only appropriate, I can't remember, $600 and something thousand that we kind of appropriated for the use. And so we have a little over $200,000 in unappropriated funds. We have kind of gone and touched some of that through projects that we weren't aware of at the time, like the skate park, where we kind of said, okay, we're going to use those funds. But if those funds aren't used, whatever's remaining stays in the EDC budget, and that's the reason why we've got a little over $2 million in our fund balance for EDC to be able to utilize.
Okay. And so, and like looking at the current budget, the line items that was presented with the financial reports, I know it does say February, and the 12-inch water line at the current year is still 150, and that's going to be moved back now that the audit is completed. Is that correct?
So we
is that
just
next
approved
month?
those. No, you won't see it next month. It was approved at the council meeting last week is when we adopted. So it should be seen in when we get the April numbers. Remember, we're 2 months. Because that's the way it works, so.
We're always 2 months behind.
We're always 2 months. The city council and the EDC get the same report, but it's 2 months behind, because you gotta close it out, and then they gotta do other documentation, so you're roughly 2 months behind in the financials.
Correct. That's all the questions I have for now on this line, this discussion.
And as far as our next budget, on that subject, we, again, real quick, we talked about the facade grant on increasing it. Obviously, we're going to have to deal with commercial demolition. Danielle and, no, the name, just forgot the budget, the money comes out of, I just went blank on the money that comes out for the non-commercial.
Oh, residential demolition comes out of
Developmental services, thank you, I'm so sorry. So developmental services has a budget that covers residential, non-commercial. and then EDC does the commercial windows. So between that and facade, we do need to change that. Other than that, anything else that y'all want to look at?
And this is for the next fiscal year, so talking about AVs, like, is that a discussion to have now, or wait until we find out from city council things about like the AV project that might need to be?
No, this is preliminary, just discussion points, because we're gonna have a full workshop in May.
Okay.
This is just anything else, anything to kind of.
Anything
start
else we can think of
thinking.
other than the two that we've been
We'll
talking
be going
about?
much more in depth on May 22nd.
I understand. Yeah, I think the incentives should not be tied to facades only. I think there should be grants offered through the local EDC, like other EDCs do, and not necessarily just with revitalization of the building. You have other businesses, maybe, for instance, the coffee pop-up business that they don't have a facade, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't benefit from an incentive. So I think our incentives should be expand beyond just the facade grant. So that's my only feedback on that.
Chuck, anything?
No, other than to echo with Rachel, I don't think we pigeonhole it into facade. If we can, the need is there and we can help and legitimize it, then.
Well, I think we're talking about two different.
I know okay.
Yeah, we're talking about two different.
Okay,
Facade
never mind.
grant's one grant.
Right.
Doing a different grant
Okay.
for,
Yeah, I know we
whatever,
touched-
what was your word?
Incentives, other incentives beyond the facade, which is two line items, and I guess then my only comment there is, I disagree with the need to increase the facade amount.
I don't think that anyone's trying to necessarily pigeonhole and like just do facade grants. I think we do need to increase the budget of facade grants, and I think it'd also be wonderful if we did offer other types of grants to our local businesses. So 100% definitely something we should look at.
LB, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Just one point I have here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I was
I was
sorry.
gonna tell exactly what Heidi had mentioned, that you do have your facade grant and you're separate for incentives. So that's a conversation of Heidi that he had about what would y'all, what you would done with the additional incentives, because you do already have those two separate line items. But for sure, facade grants is a huge one that does need to be increased. As you can tell with our last EDC meeting with the two that did come, the amount of money that's spent on a facade versus what we're offering,
It's not bad.
it's not bad.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's cool. And there's no incentive to redo the front of your business.
Right.
Because there's not enough money there.
Exactly.
There's not enough money there to make it an incentive.
It's something.
And I've redone the front of a lot of businesses, and I promise you, the amount of money we offer, there's no incentive to, and it's not gonna make it,
Not compared to.
it's not gonna even make a dent in my thought process to spend $100,000 to redo the front of the business. But as Rachel said, and as Heidi has pointed out, the two different, yes, if we need to have a discussion on incentive, that budget line, and what it's for and what we can use it for, then let's have that discussion and how much we need to apply to it. And keep in mind what EDC is truly for. But I do agree with that. I agree that if we need to increase that amount also, then let's look at that. If that's something you want to add on to look at, let's look at it. Agreed? Yeah.
I think we should, I'm not necessarily advocating increasing, potentially, because again, there's other projects that we're looking at, so there may or may not be room for increasing, but I think being intentional about using them, use the facade grant, let people know it exists, even if it's small at the time, and implement a guideline to do other incentives beyond the facade grant.
LB, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, cause we require people to spend what? I think it's like, is it 20,000 or?
No, we don't require them.
We don't require them to spend that, but
They have to spend.
they have to spend a certain amount on that.
Yeah.
So if they spend $40,000 on a sign, the most they can get from us is $25,000.
It's 25, so it's not balancing.
No,
Yeah.
not even.
Oh, yeah.
You're not giving them an incentive to redo the front of their business. That's what a facade
It's
is.
either up to 50% or up to 2,500, or if it's a sign, 5,000.
Right.
Yeah. Most municipalities that I've checked on we don't have the money to do theirs, but it's a large amount, 50,000, 100,000, you know, it's a true incentive for someone to really want to redo part of their business. But we do need to, obviously, I think we all agree that we need to increase our facade, obviously.
Right.
But she does, being Rachel, she does have a point on looking at our incentives, other incentives also.
And we need to look at other incentives to say, okay, is this for existing business? Is this for potential businesses coming in? Because incentives, a lot of times incentives and what new businesses are asking for, you're not going to fit into a box. Their needs are going to be wide. So we don't want to, when we talk about putting ourselves in a, you know, we probably need to maybe define how we see incentives going for existing businesses, but not close the door on some asks that could come to us from potential future business.
I mean, it could even be like a beautification project where you fund awards and give, maybe it's a beautification, you recognize a business that decorates for Christmas or does the landscaping, and you do a beautification each month for somebody's business, giving them an award. That incentive would be the award that you.
And most all of the incentives that you see, and a lot of those, you know, Rachel, and you're talking about other EDCs, there's generally something done by that business, and they get something from EDC on the backside. So it's almost like
It's a grant program.
it's
Have to
They're
show
having
what
put
you're
in-
doing.
they're
Trying to put in their portion.
you know, they've got major skin.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, is you want that business to have some skin in their game
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, but we need to also consider that it's 2024. We have a lot of online businesses and a lot of independent, you know, like, you know, the ladies at the Mets Ball and different things like that. There are things that just small business owners and online and non-traditional business front businesses could use the incentives, and it's going to significantly impact them for their well-being, which overall affects positively the community.
Give me an example.
Or e-commerce,
Right, exactly. E-commerce people that, you know, do something online. We have a business in town called, My Work Spot, that rents out business places. I know, I think one time speaking with them, they have someone who is there who offers like virtual counseling type sessions. I mean, they're providing a service, and they're, you know, what type of grant they may or may not go for, I don't know, but just looking at business in this day and age is more than brick and mortar is really what I'm talking about. So being inclusive, to be able to say, hey, if you have something that is going to positively impact the community, get people out shopping, spending, buying gas, all those things, we can do something. Or again, small micro grants or whatever, like Scott talked about, as far as beautification, best advertising, online, like, you have to define it, which I think is what Brent just said.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's been defined as incentives separate from this company wants to come in, what type of incentives, because that's a whole different conversation. We're talking about more of local, small business, mom and pop shops, and things like that.
And like,
That give you an idea, Scott? Probably not at all.
No, I think that-
No, it gives you an idea.
I do have one question, because you said there was $200,000, and just for clarity, about unallocated funds, so it's okay to make amendments to our budget throughout the year?
Correct.
Okay.
Up to that 2 point something million.
Well, in reality, you can go into your fund balance. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you just don't have a project or an allocation of those funds. But just like the skate park, he came up, we didn't know anything about it, but we were able to do that project. You know, there's a process, but it's all can be done.
Thank you.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, just so everybody understands. That entire fund balance is available, but we have to keep a minimum 25%
Correct.
So, and that's 25%.
And as
of our annual.
As that revenue increases every year,
Yeah, that number goes.
then that number, the 25% goes up. as
And
well.
just so everybody's clear, what is the 25% of? 25% of our reserve funds, of our annual budget? What 25% of what? 25% of 2.8 million, 25% of 600,000?
It's the annual.
850,000.
Exactly. So we want that clear. So
It'd
we
be the
got,
25% of the 850,000 of the revenue.
so we got to keep a minimum $200,000 round numbers in there. Other than that, realistically, we have 2.7 million.
And that just, and let's be honest, what that shows is projects that we haven't done,
Right.
if we need to get. So there's opportunity for us here to do a little bit of catch-up. And I think that we're looking at some bigger dollar amounts there, but I think everybody should kind of keep that in mind as we go forward is, yes, we're seeing some bigger price tags, but there's a little bit of catch-up here.
A lot. Gotcha. Anything else on that? You kind of got an idea, I think, our incentive, whatever, what's it titled as on that page?
It's
Incentives.
And the next one is facade, yeah.
Okay, so, looking at our incentives, what's the budget on incentives?
It's 25,000. I just personally have never seen us award an
Okay,
incentive.
but part of the problem with that, Rachel, let's call a spade a spade. Part of the problem with that is we haven't been advertising it. The only reason we got our facade grant used is because Victoria Good and Danielle blasted it out there for us. And then all this, and we made sure to get the word out, and we had people that never knew we had a facade grant.
Right.
So here we are, we're talking about this incentive of 25,000, that you are probably correct, has never been used. But at the same time, is that really the citizens' fault or our fault for not advertising it, not getting it out there, that we do have this available? And here's where our marketing, our advertising needs to go out, to where people will come up here and use it.
Yes.
And ask for it.
And of course, you don't know what you don't know, so it's not on the public. We've had some people come up and ask to be supported that we have not necessarily supported, but I think even before blasting it out, still sitting down and defining it of, what amount. So putting in guidelines and policies and protocols as a board, and then saying now we can blast it out, because at least like the facade grant had, up to this much money, first come, first serve, all the details of it, and everyone knows what to expect. So once you have something like that.
Well, yeah, another thing about the incentive is the main use for that incentive is for business recruitment, okay? The Buzz EV project is a prime example. That was a project that we worked on. Now, obviously, we got $25,000 in incentives. That project was $150,000. It was more than we had set aside, and really $25,000 may not be a good number either. And maybe that we need to budget more for that, so we have some true incentives to be able to get business. For example, the Buzz EV, which is $150,000, is what that incentive was for that project. But again, that budget came in, that was an unknown project, it came to us after we approved the budget, and then we just did the budget amendment to be able to allocate those funds. But that's really more what those incentives are geared for, is to provide the business incentives for recruiting new businesses or expansion of existing businesses in our community. It can be used for other grant programs, incentive programs too, but that's really what the $25,000.
And if that's the case, we want to obviously increase that substantially.
I think you start with what you have and put policy in place and see. If you get a bunch of little requests, then you don't need to increase it. If you get a bunch of big requests, then you need to talk about an amendment and say, hey, we need to increase it. But if the community hasn't asked for it because they didn't know it's there, we don't currently know the need to increase or decrease, but we do know the need to define.
And then two other projects that we have, of course, is the airport observation area that we've been talking about as a potential project, as well as Stansel Park has also been one that we've talked about adding as a project for next year.
Okay. Anything else on budget calendar discussion?
Just out of curiosity, Scott, I know this, is there anything EDC still has upcoming in negotiation with ESTA or BNSF? No.
Not at this time.
I know a long time ago there was some stuff down the road that had been discussed.
BNSF is actually recruiting tenants. And with each of those recruitments, could be a potential for them to come back to us.
Ask for incentive.
For some kind of.
But nothing on paper saying.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, that's good. I thought that was right, I just wanted to make sure.
Next item?
Next item.
Number 10.
Commercial demolition budget discussion.
Okay, on this one, and Danielle can help me out if we need it, but it's really more just an information for for y'all. We kind of talked about that we've got $30,000 for demolition for commercial property. We are currently in the final stages, moving forward on potentially forcing a demolition of a commercial piece of property in town. And so they are currently we've given the notices, we've given the documentation, we've got a hearing set for this piece of property to determine a substandard structure and potentially get in that direction. That goes before the zoning board. The zoning board will make a recommendation. They can tell them that they have 30 days, they tell they have up to 90 days to demo this property. If they fail to do so, then we can take action and demo it and charge them. Once it goes to the zoning board and they provide their recommendation, then it's going to go to council for final approval. Okay. If the council gives final approval that yes, let's say they say 60 days. If they do not demo this property in 60 days, then the city can go in there and do that. This project, the estimates at this time is over $100,000 to do this demo. It is an area that needs to be demoed. We have worked with this property owner. We've gone to this process. We've got to the point. He agreed to demo it within 60 days because he has his own construction company and failed to do so. But because we got to that point, gave him that grace, we had to start all the way back over. So we've been working since then to get back to this point.
And this is across the street from the quick trip.
Correct.
Gas station.
Correct. And so, working with them, we got to this point. If it goes to council, I'm letting y'all know because if it goes to council and we end up having to do a demo, we'll probably be coming back. We'll need to do a budget amendment to increase the funds. Now, with that, once the demolition is actually done, then we will of course invoice them for the cost of the demolition. If we were to receive those funds back, we would of course reimburse the EDC for those demolition funds. Unfortunately, if he doesn't pay it back, then what it does is we end up putting a lien on the property. And then whenever they sell that property, then we can collect those funds. If we choose not to, I guess, waive those funds in the future so that somebody will buy that piece of property so that they will develop it. And a lot of times that's what ends up happening, is that you will forgive or waive some of those liens so that you can get that property sold so we can start getting some more tax revenue back on the books. But there is a possibility that we could get the funding back and give it to EDC moving forward. I just wanted to make you aware of this because we are getting down to that process. Hopefully it'll be demoed before we get to that point. We don't have to worry about it. But if not, I just want to make sure y'all are aware because we are going to be possibly in a month or two back to you if it all goes as planned. We may have to come back to you and ask for that additional funds. I just want to make y'all aware of that at this point. So we're not taking you off guard.
Scott, if the city demos it, it stays private property of the owner, and the only consequence of the city demoing it is the lien. But when they choose to sell, if they choose to sell at that point, you can collect on the lien, right?
Correct.
So
Now, if they're trying to do a mortgage or try to do construction on that, then typically they're going to be required to do away. They'll have to remove the liens that are on that property. So if they want to develop themselves, they would still have to, before they could get a loan for that project, they're going to have to remove that. So
You have to pay us first.
but until then, it could just sit there.
sit there indefinitely, more or less, and the city would not see a return on that money unless it's sold or they want to refinance and mortgage it in some way to clear up that lien. So, okay, and it kind of sounds like a strategy of having someone front the demolition costs for them to have a higher value of their lot, but if the city may or may not get it back, I mean, it's definitely an eyesore, right? I was just curious if the city had any interest in it after the demo, or the city is just putting that price tag, hoping a lien will get it back.
Now, if they
So
don't
typically,
pay
we
their
go
taxes,
through that. Right.
if they don't pay their taxes on the property, then we could eventually get the property itself,
Okay.
and then we could either keep it or we could sell it. And then you're, of course, gambling on how much money you're going to actually get from the sale of that property. And then, of course, we're not the only ones that have a lien, that have interest in that property when we do this tax sale. You also got the county and the school district, so they're going to get their back taxes as well. Now, the way it works is that anything that we have spent on there, we would get reimbursed first before they split the money. So we would get the 100,000 back if we receive that kind of money. But that is a prime piece of property right there at the entrance into the
Oh, that property's
city.
worth well.
And it is, right now, it is a major hazard because of the condition of those facilities. And we need to get that facility demoed because it is a safety hazard for our citizens and those passing
And
through.
that's going to zoning board of adjustments Wednesday morning, and then to, depending on how the zoning board of adjustments goes, and then to city council.
Just in
So
council.
next month.
I think this is just more information for y'all because there's a chance that come June, July, we may be coming back to you saying, yes, we're moving forward and we need to do a budget amendment for this.
And is it one of those kind of situations where they just beat around the bush and don't want to do it, or? I mean, I'm just saying, cost effective.
Well, last time, the last conversation that was had with them was that they,
Do we have, Danielle, hey Danielle.
Hi.
Hang on just 1 second before you. We probably need to be a little bit cautious.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So as Scott had mentioned, that this was done, I think it was last year, was this conversation came up, and they had all the intent to go ahead and move forward with what was proposed to them, just never got done. So now we're back at square one again, and from my understanding is that they are requesting, that they will be requesting that they want to go ahead and take care of it themselves. So if they're able to do it themselves, great. That's what we want, is for them to handle it themselves. But there is always a possibility for us to run into the same issue again to where it's not handled. Which is why on Wednesday morning, when we have our meeting, that's gonna be the discussion of what time frame are we looking at. And they do have, legally, they do have 90 days, up to 90 days to take care of the demolition. But it just depends if they will take care of it. So it was a conversation that was had in the past. They've seen that they want to do it themselves. It's just the fact of getting it done. So, it's not necessarily that they avoid the conversation, or anytime I've sent out letters for code enforcement, or they're giving me a call back. So they're in communication. It's just having it completed. Yeah, that's what we're running into.
And just for clarification, the reason why last time when we got to this point, we didn't go to public hearing, we didn't go to council. You have to go through those steps to be actually able to demo. They have requested to get permission to get the 60 days or whatever to do the demo themselves. We have said, no, we've already done that once. And basically we had to start all over because we did. We're going to go on and go through the process. And we're setting the hearing, we're going to council. If you demo before it gets to the public hearing, we'll pull it off. If it gets demoed before we go to council, we'll pull it. If not, we're going to keep it. That way, this time, we've got to go through and get what we need legally to be able to demo it. We stopped last time before we got everything that we needed to legally demo it because they said that they were going to do it within the 60 days. They didn't do it, then we had to start over the whole process. We're going through the whole process this time, so we legally have what we are required to have to be able to do the demo. So if it doesn't get done this time frame, whatever they're giving, 30, 60, 90 days, we can go in and demo it. And not have to start all over again.
Awesome. Anything else on number 10? All good. Number 11, 27th of Memorial Day. So obviously we need to change that date. And then we also want to do a ribbon cutting for the pavilion, since we're being assured that has everybody seen the pavilion? Doesn't it look awesome? Looks good. Chuck, have you seen it?
Yes, it was by there the other day. Actually, they were pouring the sidewalks the other day when I saw it.
Rachel? Yep. Of course, we got grass, some other things to finish up.
So yes, the plan is, and we talked to the chamber already, we're ready to do a ribbon cutting for the pavilion. We want to do that at 5 o'clock before EDC meeting, to kind of kick off, to recognize that and do just kind of a dedication for that facility. The question is when is our main meeting going to be? Because it's scheduled, our normal regular scheduled meeting is Memorial Day. And so we do need to move, and so if Tuesday works, we can just move it one day and do it on that
Just move
Tuesday.
it from the 27th to the 28th?
That works. You know, I think that is the best, but we just need to set that date.
Yep. That'll work. Done. 27th, 6 p.m. Or 28th. Correct. 28th. Sorry about that, guys.
So 5 p.m. we'll have the ribbon cutting and 6 p.m. meeting.
Yep, 5 p.m. ribbon cutting, 6 p.m. back over here for our meeting.
And that will be budget workshop 1 too, then, because that was there.
Yeah, that's going to be budget workshop one
Yes.
also. For May the 28th. Not, Okay.
We do need to make vote on that.
Oh, we did? So we need a motion to move the 27th meeting to the 28th.
I make the motion to go ahead and move that meeting date from the 27th to the 28th.
I second that motion.
I've got a motion from LB to move the meeting date of the 27th to the 28th, with the ribbon cutting at 5 p.m. and the meeting at 6 p.m. on the 28th. I have a second by Heidi. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Number 12. This is EDC tables at Greater Cleveland Chamber of Commerce monthly luncheons. Rachel, I think, had a couple of questions on that.
It's kind of one question. I know that when we bought the second table, I believe the intention behind it when we discussed that was as far as bringing business or nonprofits or people that would be working with the EDC providing services to Cleveland as a way to promote the EDC board. And so my question is about if we are extending out invites to business owners and other things as we talk and to them about these opportunities, when is the RSVP due to make sure that the seats are not released to city employees if we have business guests or other guests that have agreed to come? And it's just, we know the date of the chamber luncheon is always the first week of the month. So is there going to be a date that if we RSVP by this date at the end of whatever month with the guests, and then the seats will be released? I was just looking for something so that, you know, they have a seat if they've been invited.
So just to be clear, when we originally purchased those two tables, if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, was basically for our board members first, and then second for obviously we aren't all going to make it each time. And then the second was for current businesses, potential businesses,
Nonprofits and other people that want to come in. And we also do educational arm through the EDC, right?
Yes. And I guess that's where we need some clarification. But of course now, as of here in a very short amount of time, we're going to have an EDC director that is going to be able to book this for us where we don't have to mess with it. Ethan, that's going to be a portion of his job. And he will do it, at least that's the understanding.
Correct.
So the board members will no longer be like
inviting coming first. Oh, I see.
No, inviting through as we have discussions and bringing people as far as businesses, new businesses wanting to come in, other things like that. So it will no longer be a networking thing for the board. It will all come central through the community
I
development.
think it needs to be coordinated through.
Yeah, coordinated.
Right, and that's what I'm asking is if someone on the board says, hey, this small business owner is interested in expanding into Cleveland and they've been invited to attend the EDC table, which was my understanding of the intent of it, and we're going to RSVP, when do we give you an RSVP? What date? Like to say, if you have an RSVP by this date, then
And we typically try to have it by the Friday before if we can, but this means we need to fill those seats, so.
I understand, and like I said, the last time when I called her RSVP around that time, I was told that they had been filled, and so that was just, I was just looking for clarification. I don't want to extend invites to small business owners and other people to turn around and say, I'm sorry, actually, we don't have seats for you. And I'm just looking for a date that if we know by the Friday before, the week of, whatever it might be, if you RSVP and there's seats, and if it's not RSVP, then not the seats.
Well, that specific one was just because, I think because of the state of the city situation. But if we
I
need.
mean, my thought, I mean, you definitely want to be coordinating with Emily, I mean, Emilio. We need to coordinate that, so if there, I mean, if you got somebody you want to, you just call and say, hey, do we have the available seats still? Or I'm thinking about doing this, okay, great. You know, they can invite them, or you can invite them, but, you know, they may be already reaching out to somebody too. So I think that's important, is that continual communication, getting with them and saying, hey, I've got somebody I want to consider. You want me to reach out? You want to reach out to them? However that works.
So it would help having deadlines of this is in the RSVP. And I understand the communication tool, but again, sometimes you're in the middle of talking to someone, the conversation comes up, you know, oh, wait a minute, let me email somebody real quick and see.
Or just pick the phone up and call.
Did you,
Just pick the phone up, call him and go, hey, this is what, you know what I mean, real quick. Yeah, do we have these seats available for this person? And then the other question someone else had is these people coming to our chamber, do they need to be within the city limits or within the ETJ? That was the other question that's been brought. In my opinion, I think they need to be at least within the ETJ, but that's just
but
my opinion.
there's also people that might not be from the city at all, that might be from a neighboring city that are interested in coming to the city for the idea of expansion.
But within expansion or coming to the city with a new business,
Mhm.
within the confines of the city or within the confines of the ETJ? Or do we want to allow people outside the ETJ?
I don't know if I understand, but like if there is
Like they can
if you
buy-
invite somebody from Dallas who like potentially I want to bring a business that I have in Dallas to Cleveland, then we want to do that. If we have someone in the neighboring area that's a small business, because we even as a board extend out 10 miles, right? And
Just
so,
the ETJ?
right.
But if they're outside the ETJ, do we want to?
Right, and if they're interested in the idea of movement into, because I know currently I'm talking to a different small business owner who currently does things within Montgomery County, but they are interested in finding out the process of how they can get involved in Cleveland City. So I don't know that there should be a limitation to where they're from if they have an
It's not where
interest.
they're from.
Never did anything with where they're from.
All right.
Never did anything.
Where they want to put that business.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that within, okay, and I do think it should be beyond this city limits, strictly city limits, and do the ETJ, because again, at that meeting that we had, and I think September, they, with the economic president, I don't know, I guess prior board members, they talked about EDC being a regional approach, and you don't want to confine necessarily to just city limitations
Oh,
because
ETJ.
you want it to be regional.
So, yeah, y'all agree with the ETJ?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%. I think everybody can be on board with that, right? So I don't care if you're from Hawaii, you want to bring a business into the ETJ, come on, let's go. I don't care where you're from. But as long as we're all on board on what the purpose of that is, you know, it's obviously marketing and advertising to help promote those situations of, and it doesn't have to be just businesses that are, I don't care if the person lives in Hawaii and owns a business here. Let's invite them, you know, I mean, current, prospective, businesses, I mean, you know, and I think as long as they're in our ETJ, I don't know that we want to go outside the ETJ. Go ahead, Elvin.
Just a question. I don't know, I mean, is it possible we can just get a calendar from the chambers when they're gonna have their luncheon? That way, prior to the date, if you wanna bring somebody, you already have that calendar, say, hey, let me call Miss Adams so I can set something up and see if we have seats, but, or communicate with the EDC director, sorry, I'm so used to
It ain't gonna be Alice no more.
Ain't gonna be Alice no more.
Alice is like, here's my number.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, it eliminates the middleman, you know, having
It
that
does,
calendar.
and I do think that, I would hope that if an EDC member, as Rachel alluded to or said, I do think that if an EDC member finds a prospective business, current business, whatever, however you want to phrase it, that they feel like wants to have somebody there that's within our ETJ, I would hope that our EDC director is going to facilitate that. He's over there shaking his head, yes. So, but I would hope that we would, I don't want to say preferential treatment, but you know.
Right, and add beyond business, I say the word nonprofit because again, of the arm of the EDC where we're promoting educational opportunities is also a strong arm of the EDC as well. So it might be people who are within that area of economic development because you need educated workforce, right?
Yes.
So or is it just potential businesses?
Are you saying like just potential business people be able to come to the lunch?
No,
Right.
what she's wanting to know is it going to be just potential businesses?
Oh.
Or current businesses or nonprofit organizations?
Educational.
Educational organizations. I don't think,
An example would be for Tough Kids is a nonprofit that provides educational opportunities that this board has supported in other capacities. So somebody representing a board like the Tough Kids board might have an idea, a suggestion for bringing things to the Cleveland area. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
As far as the,
I mean, they were there last time. I don't know what group.
right,
they were.
no, I'm giving them as an example. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, we keep saying businesses, and that's why I'm adding the word
When we
nonprofit.
get into details like that, that's something that we could collaborate with the chamber and maybe coordinate with them if it comes to that point.
Well, another thing is, I mean, I think what you want to do is you want to put the first emphasis on new business.
Right.
You're going to have situations where you're not going to fill up all 16 seats. And so, again, that's where you come in, you get that Friday before, and we got 4 businesses that are coming, but we still got 4 seats open. That's where, you know, Emilio can say, hey, let's see if Tough Kid wants to come in.
Right.
And that's when you start reaching out to those nonprofits to see if they want to fill those seats. But you don't want to have a standing meeting as well, that every month you have a nonprofit.
Oh, I
there.
agree.
So, I mean,
No, I
but I
think
think you focus
prioritize.
on your business, and then you fill the seats, because you're not going to fill every seat every time.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
Brent said.
each of you, you're not going to be able to attend every single one of those meetings, and so that's going to be another seat that we're going to have to fill at some point.
And I think prioritizing those seats, like Brent just said, that's a good way to do it. Prioritizing 2 new businesses, then current businesses, and then to nonprofits.
And that's something I think is gonna come with time as we get to know Emilio and there's just more and more communication with him. I mean, I think that you know, it'll just be, I'm calling that. And just be a phone call and say, hey, how's our seating look for this month's meeting? You know, we got plenty of spaces. I've got some potentials.
Answer, are we all on the same page with that? And I do think, like, you didn't bring those people that you brought to the meeting, the chamber before last, that were gonna come here. And even though we knew, after you and I talked, we knew we couldn't help them as far as building that canopy at the school. But I do think that in that situation, maybe, you know, it wouldn't hurt for them to come here. Put it on the agenda, give us their idea on what they want to do. Even though we know we couldn't do them, people on this board might have an idea for, you know, like, you know, talk about fundraisers. I know they never can for, you know, whatever reason, what was it, whatever, but might have some of their ideas, you know. Anything else left on, does that help or answer everybody's question on number 12? Yep, 13, city's annual cleanup Cleveland. Heidi wants us to go to work, I think.
I just feel like we're up here making really important decisions, and nobody knows who we are, and especially, you know, we're preaching facade grants, and we're preaching, you know, cleaning things up around town. I feel like this is just a small way to not only give that to the community, but just kind of show them, you know, we care, we're here for you. They just, you talk to anybody about the EDC almost, and they don't know who we are, and we're here to help them. So actions speak louder than words.
So in short, she's wanting us to do this, put a team together.
Yes. Yes, I think we need to go.
LB looks like he's like all behind it.
No, yeah, because my church does that every year.
Yeah. So we may not even be there, but I know I'm going to be there, whether y'all decide to join me or not, but I just, it would be good for all of us to do it.
That'll work.
So, when is it? What day is it?
It's,
It is on Saturday from 9 to 12.
This Saturday?
Yes.
This coming Saturday. from
And
9
it would be great to know that you guys are coming due to the fact that we feed lunch and everything like that.
It is a really great
From
event.
Saturday from what, 9 to 12?
Yes.
What'd you say, 9 a.m. to 12?
Correct. We provide everything you need to go out and clean. And we also provide a lunch and ticket for a door prize.
You know, I just think it's just really important, you guys.
We'll get t-shirts made if I want.
You don't necessarily have to have a t-shirt. You can have your own color that you want to wear, whatever. We have reflective vests and everything like that, so you may not really use.
One EDC t-shirt.
Yeah. It's up to you guys.
and it's this weekend?
It's this week.
9 to 12, dude.
Okay,
Come on,
I make it
baby.
this weekend.
This Saturday.
I will buy
Y'all
some
should
shirts
follow
for y'all
the
this
Cleveland
weekend.
Civic Center and.
Oh, so you can't go. You can't do this Saturday from 9
I
to 12.
actually won't be able to make this. I'm sorry.
I thought you said the church had already had your
I'm
plan.
sorry, but
Wait a minute.
I will buy you a cooler full of Gatorade water.
He'll be out somewhere
and snacks.
next weekend.
Chuck, Rachel, y'all think y'all gonna
Now,
make
in
it?
my defense, I am moving.
I think so. You need to double check with the better half and grandkids. But yes, I think we'll be good.
I'm also not able to attend, I'm already double booked, and so it's a busy time of year, but unfortunately, this is one year I can't make it.
Can I get somebody in my spot?
I'll take your spot.
You can give
I
10
mean,
people your spot.
I got plenty of kids in the school that need community service out, so I can get them out.
I need to recommend.
I love that y'all are talking about this, and I don't see these registrations at my door.
No, Ashley, wait.
No, listen,
This
we
is just
have
not on the
less than
agenda.
30 people signed up for Clean Up Cleveland, and
Okay.
this is the lowest attendee or participation that we've had in a couple of years now. So
Okay,
we've
what
been
is
trying
my
to
vote?
promote it for a while now. And that's why I say, please follow our Facebook, our social media, the Cleveland Civic Center and CVB page. We've been trying to blast it. We even extended our registration and things like that. Now, of course, we're not going to turn you away if you show up on the day of. But definitely, it always gives us a head count to know what to prepare for as far as water, hot dogs, things like that. So, I mean, yes, we need all the community service. We need all of those that need National Honor Society, community service, those type of things.
So
Please send them our
tomorrow,
way.
when I get to work, I'll go talk to Dr. Miller about getting some students out that need community service.
How many people do you have right
Sounds
now?
great. We have less than 30.
Less than 30. What do you normally have?
We usually have between 80 to 140.
So for all the YouTube people watching,
There you go.
people Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12, we are down 50, 60 people
A lot.
this year.
So we got 600 seniors graduating, about 600 something graduating.
That's a big
Okay, I'm gonna try to make it happen tomorrow. And give him this card.
He's feeling guilty because he ain't coming back all that. So as far as
Hey,
the
I'm
board,
missing a wedding rehearsal to be there. So I have my cousin's wedding Sunday, and I'm missing her rehearsal to be there. So
Oh, that ain't nice.
come on now.
okay, so we have a commitment from Heidi and Brent, myself, and Chuck. Well, Chuck's still got to.
Yeah, check with the better half.
He's
but
got to see if,
I think that can be
if it's
persuasive.
better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I don't know.
Yes,
He's got to figure that
yeah.
out. Roger. Okay. Yeah, you're laughing way too hard at that, Roger did. And he just got married. Yeah, congratulations, Roger. Congratulations on your exam, by the way. Also, we need to congratulate Julius Buckley on his new baby. And then also Brent, or I'm sorry, Mike Buckley, yeah. No kidding. Mike Buckley was unable to make it tonight, by the way. I should have mentioned that during roll call. I apologize. Number 14, updates on EDC projects and goals. We're going to start on with Angela on this one. I'm going to squeeze her in real quick. She's got, we went over this earlier, Angela, see where we can squeeze you in. I apologize it's taking so long. It's Alice's fault because she said this is the only place we could do it.
So basically, it's just y'all's business cards, and it basically has the EDC logo. It has your name, and it also has your position. If you want your cell phone number on there, that's optional, totally up to y'all. And then if you want your email, you can have your personal email or the email that was assigned with the city of Cleveland. So basically, if you want to take a look at it, if anything is incorrect, you can kind of scratch it out, put the correct phone number. If you want to change the email, you can do so. So after the meeting, you can kind of just...
Well, let's do it right now while you've got everybody here, and start at LB, and let's see what he wants, and run down the list real fast on what they want on. You don't know. Switching myself in right now. So you might have still number, you got mine already. You know what I'm doing.
Just a reminder, if you put your personal email on there, and you get emails for EDC, it can be subject to open records. So just keep that in mind when you decide whether you want to do the EDC email, or you want to do your personal email.
So I'm trying to read this email real fast. What is our,
You have it on there. You'll have it on there.
oh, never mind. Cool.
And do you have the back side of my card by chance with you?
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
Michael's not
But
here.
it'll be exactly the same, but it'll have the city of Cleveland logo.
Yeah, perfect.
Michael's not here, but his name is spelled wrong. City Hall.
Well, this one is City Hall, but of course, we would put your phone number for City Hall. Because they don't,
If you want your number on there, or if you want City Hall.
yeah, so I just put a phone number, just put in a number, but if you don't want your phone number, they won't have City Hall's number.
Hey, Angela.
And this is the
Yes, so you want for
Angela.
the city provider.
She said that Mike Buckley's name was misspelled.
Oh, no, I've seen that. Yeah, I noticed it when I was sitting.
I didn't look at my name. Is it misspelled? I didn't look at my name. I didn't see it was misspelled. I didn't even look at my name. Are all the other names spelled correctly?
While you're doing that, just a reminder,
Are all the other names spelled correctly? I didn't even look.
Yeah, no, everybody's was. It was just his. I noticed it when I was sitting.
Okay.
while we're talking about projects, those of you that need to be signing your signature cards, don't forget to assign your signature cards.
I called the bank today, in fairness, she was out sick, so
I've already went by
that was
there.
my excuse, I'll be there on.
Just a reminder.
I've already went by. No, unfortunately, we ain't writing no checks. We got bills that we got to pay. Okay. Park and playground expansion updates. Do we got an update, Danielle, on, or Roger, whoever, on the skate park?
Oh, that's
Skate park. Rachel, we had talked about that before.
Yeah, there's
Good evening.
do this construct of the skate park at Campbell as our drawings that we had at the last meeting. So everything got approved, and once they got approved, we said about a month, we would get it started on constructing, putting skate parks in, and the whole line.
Right.
Fencing and take care of the whole situation. So
Awesome.
it's been moved forward to the next step.
You ready? So we should see stuff going within a month or two.
Probably quicker than that.
All right, good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What about Stansel Park while you're there? We got,
That's what,
BJ. He's got, Stansel Park, there's some improvements. Tell us your name and who you are, BJ, real quick. Just remind us.
I'm BJ Burton, president of Cleveland Livestock Show. So just to start off, we had our annual show and rodeo the first week of April. Our auction numbers was right at $550,000. It went straight back to the kids. We give $15,000 in scholarships straight to the kids. So I know there's some ideas of doing some improvements to Stansel Park. My idea is so the pig barn and the cattle barn are both in very bad shape. My idea is to take the current rodeo arena, turn it into a show facility. Basically, wipe the pins and stuff out. You'd have to do some concrete work, that kind of stuff. Build a new rodeo facility, either where the cattle barn is or on the opposite side of the park next to the city barn. Either place would work. Cleveland Livestock Show owns, it's about 1.5 acres straight across from the Civic Center on this side of the city barn. We've talked about selling that property. It's valued around $350,000. And y'all remember, I'm the president of the board, but I have to go back and get approval from the board. So anything I say tonight is subject to me. So, if we done the current rodeo arena as our show facility, we would have to have some temporary pens for pigs and that kind of stuff. So we would have to have some money to do that. But that 1.5 acres that we're talking about selling, maybe we could work as a deal with the city where we put some money in to help, with the build of the new facility. I think, Roger, what was the number for the cattle barn? 200,000?
Yeah.
Just
to next to the arena.
Yes.
So it was about 200,000 to demolish a brand new facility.
Yeah.
Plus electrical would have been 250,000 just for that only. That's to demolish it, remove it, install some brand new timber and
Total
construction.
250 or 200 plus 250?
250 total.
Total, yes, sir.
Total. That's with electricity.
With electricity.
Yes.
That was for two.
Yes, correct. Yes. And also, I think we had, the school was out there in March or April doing some work to the pig barn. And they did some sanding, grinding, welding, and painting, stuff to kind of beautify it up, but it still needs some more attention.
So, as anybody's been there, the parking is terrible. The parking is terrible for that. So if you was to do away with part of those buildings and take the one rodeo arena and make it into a show facility, that would do away with half of the barns that are there now. You could basically leave the log cabin and everything else could go away. Then the new rodeo facility could be there. And we own the property behind the current pig barn. We have 3.5 acres there also. So, I'm gonna say we're willing to work with whoever to.
You're willing to put some skin in the game.
That's right. I am. Now.
We like that.
And
we like that. As Rachel pointed out about our AV system with the city.
We would want something, saying that, we weren't gonna get kicked out of it in 5 years, so something to that effect. But we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, and just for future reference, Ashley and I have been trying to get together now for, I'm sorry, some months to where we can get a rodeo arena rented out and some other ideas, and part of that's my fault. I'm a little bit busy in there.
So with the new rodeo arena, new brings people. New brings people. These people are gonna come here, they're gonna eat here, they're gonna bring their horses and rodeo, and they're gonna rent out this facility. You know, take TDE at Liberty, for example. That facility is rented every weekend, and it's not a real good facility. It's not the best.
I rodeoed there a lot.
So, you know, that is gonna bring some revenue back to what's spent there. You know, this facility, you know, it's probably been there since the 40s, 50s maybe, I don't know. You know, last year our sale numbers was 700 and something thousand. You know, that's going straight back to kids that you know, they're getting that to go to college on, to buy their first vehicle, to do whatever they need to do, so.
Could you touch back on that acre and a half that you were mentioning?
So we had a realtor look at the acre and a half that is directly across from the civic center. Would make the perfect parking lot for the civic center, or, you know.
That's right next door to.
That's between Public Works and Zeta Terrace. That's a property in between.
That's right.
Yeah.
So our realtor had said the value of that property, I think he said was $350,000 is what he said the value of that property is. So that's something that we as an organization have talked about selling, because it really does us no good. We don't use it as an organization. You know, it's not good for parking or anything. So for the way it is, in return, what we talked about doing is taking that money and improving the property behind the barn that we use for a park, make a parking lot out of it. You know, there's lots of things that we could do with that money. That land's just sitting there for nothing right now.
Including chipping in on this new arena.
That is very possible.
I have a question / idea. The $250,000 that y'all are looking at, that's one project, and then you're looking at a different project on the back, or $250,000 is all you need to do everything that you need?
No, so the 200, if we done it this way, the 250,000 would go away. The new rodeo arena, I don't know what that number would cost. It would be
$1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and really, so I'll just go to where my train of thought is going is, if there is an idea that you have a piece of land there centrally located, and we have parks as a project and goal, and we have a community asking for a walking park or a walking path or something, whether it's a dog park, something with trails, something with like a sit and be fit every couple signs. If we started a conversation about purchasing that land and turn it into some sort of park for the community, and you got that revenue, would it take care of the things you need? So we like 2 birds, 1 stone?
No.
Not completely.
No? Okay, so you need some money plus selling that in order to do the whole project of the idea of what you're.
I got it right now. So that arena is going to be $1 million. So that's going to be every bit $1 million. So what he's hoping to do is take that $350,000 or a portion of it, his board, whatever, chip in on that arena with it. Either if the city wants to own the property, then we just have to do it all. Or if the city doesn't, and they can sell it and throw that money in, then it's going to need a lot more money.
And that's in addition to the pig barn and cattle.
So if we.
It's either one of the two. It's either we do new for $250,000 that Roger was talking about, or don't do that at all anymore. Scrap that whole idea. And instead take the old arena that we have now, make it the show arena, and then where all that is, do away with it in the new rodeo arena there, or on that other property and use that for parking. There's a lot of options going on there. Because the property that we're referring to behind Stencil Park, the livestock show and rodeo own that. And it seems like you have to deal with rain every year that we rodeo here. And trying to pull a 40-foot trailer into that parking lot, they have tractors sitting there waiting to pull us all out, because typically they have to pull us all out. It's a horrible parking area. It's absolutely horrible. And usually people are destroying their trailers and trucks trying to get out of there, literally. So that's kind of where he was going with it. As you have options of where to put that rodeo arena, and correct me if I'm wrong. And then the other option is, what he's asking for is to do away with the 250 grand project and let them throw in some on building a new arena, essentially.
Yeah, so if we just went with the $250,000 to build the cattle barn, okay, that's one issue we have. The next issue is a pig barn. The pig barn it's got a sign there that says it's condemned. The city of Cleveland has condemned it. I think that's gone away because they've worked on it.
Right, yeah.
So, but still, it's 60, 70 years old. You know, it's in bad shape. So,
Excuse me for a second. So the quote that we suggested earlier was this one here and this one, these two buildings. This is the arena right here. But these two buildings, these two facilities right here is $250,000 with electrical repair. Totally brand new. The whole slab. I did give y'all some pictures before.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Okay.
So that would only take care of one issue. We still have the issue of the pig barn, which
It's condemned.
Yes, the pig barn is probably another, $100,000 building. So you're $350 right there, and you've not improved anything. You're not being, the rodeo arena that's not getting rented out now because it's not. It's a terrible arena. You can't see sitting in the bleachers. You can't see. The rodeo arena is narrow. You can't. Team ropers hate it. Barrel racers hate it. So it's not getting utilized. Where if you had a new facility to rent out to other organizations besides us, then it would bring in some more revenue there too. I think it would be more beneficial. Plus, if you took the current rodeo arena and we concreted half of it, maybe some on both ends. There could be birthday parties held underneath it also. There could be dances held under it. There's unthinkable things that could be held there too that would take the place of the rest of the facility. I think if you tried to do away with the log cabin, then we'd all get thrown out of Cleveland. But it's
I'm trying to get another one.
Yeah, Ashley's wanting to do it.
I want another one.
and you could close in part of the current rodeo arena on one end. Have some roll-up doors on it to where you could open the doors and have an open facility, or close the doors if the weather's bad. Close part of the doors. There's lots of options that could be done there.
The 3.5 acres that's on the Easy Street side, is that an option to build a new arena on?
I'm not going to say no. So that's something I would have to ask my board about.
I would think if we are giving up the kind of money we're giving up to build something, I'd be surprised.
Yes, I would too. And I'm going to say, here's the first thing they're going to ask me is, are they going to give us right now we currently have the facility April 1st to April 30th, or whatever it is. So,
on a 20-year lease.
Are we going to get a 20-year, 30-year lease if we give up this 3 acres? Or are we going to be partners on it? What are we going to be guaranteed? In 10 years, we don't want to be here and not have a place to have a show.
Oh, look who's here. And then the other, I think, question is going to be that other acre, is it acre and a half?
Acre and a half.
Acre and a half.
Acre and a half, if the city's going to want to own it, sell it, since it's connected to city property.
And I know I'm throwing another bone out there, but if that barn right there was moved somewhere else, and all of that was rodeo facility, parking and everything, that would be, so.
You want me to move my barn from there?
This seems like a significant project with a significant price tag and different needs or different options. So is this one to go ahead and put on a budget calendar, like talk about specific line item of what can happen over 3 to 5 years or whatever it might be, and discuss it when we do budgeting or start that process? Because, or are you looking for funding like right now this fiscal year?
I'm looking for anything I can get. So, you know, I don't know how.
I think that, I would think that we just need to kind of get a direction, don't you think, Scott? On,
I think we need to come up with a plan as far as what you want to.
But Ashley's gonna go, yeah, please throw me in there, man. I want this done, but,
Well, I don't know, man, having a study done, but there's so many different options, so many different things that you can do. It's almost like you need to look at
Your options.
what are all the options.
And grants.
What can we do? What is the best layout? Because you don't want to spend $40 million, $500,000 and go, man, I wish we'd have done it this way.
absolutely.
So, I mean, and I know those cost money, but, and I don't know if there's maybe some rodeo people that can do some kind of, look at our current facilities and give us some kind of a, you know.
And there are, I don't know if anybody knows this, I was the president of the Pro Rodeo Association for 4 years.
So John can bring somebody in.
I rodeo in every rodeo arena across the Canada and Texas, or Canada and the United States. But, and there are companies that you can, hire that have developed, you know, the big facilities, you know, like Waco and everywhere else. So plenty of people out there that can do that sort of thing.
You
And
know-
he is correct. Liberty is rented out, and I rodeoed in both Liberty and Cleveland, and both of them, neither one of them are what you ever want to have to rope in unless you just absolutely have to. They're horrible arenas to rope in or run barrels in, just what he said.
But they can also look at what kind of rental opportunities. we
Absolutely,
have.
because that increases rental
Yeah,
opportunities.
they can look at all
what kind of
kinds
returns.
A business plan.
Liberty, as bad of an arena that is, it's rented out every weekend. It's crazy. It's,
So is Bull Solid Park.
yeah.
They're rented all the time.
Crosby,
Crosby.
Ashley and I talked about Crosby, the amount of money that Crosby brings in every year, just from, they sell memberships, yearly memberships to use their arena. And that's what Ashley and I have been needing to sit down and talk about to come up with some other avenues. But, I think it's just something that we probably need to look at, maybe put on maybe put it on and just start kind of discussing it and go in the direction.
Yeah, I think it needs like more intentional conversation and research and things, and not to not support it, but it's potentially a multi-year project, and you don't want to do half of it if you're going to go and approve it. You don't want half of it looks good and the other half you're stuck in the mud.
Right.
So I think it's just a bigger conversation, again, looking at other avenues, grants, city, EDC, whatever it might be, and having some plans for it and adding a line item. That's my suggestion.
And I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't know what the EDC, if they own any other property anywhere else, or the city owns any property anywhere else. But what is the value of that property versus moving that park to the edge of town somewhere? You know, I'm just throwing that.
Well, I don't think the location's a horrible location. I've been to that arena forever,
Just
both sides of it. I've came in from both sides.
Yeah.
But the property that he's on right there, that's that land, that's that empty land. That's got to have a value, I would think, to the city. It's connected to all the city property.
Right. It's directly across from the driveway of
Civic Center.
Civic Center.
Yeah.
And I don't know that this was part of the electrical or not, but having been to many events there, the lighting in the parking lot is dangerous, and that needs to be significantly improved and should be part of the conversation as well.
So,
Very dark lighting.
2 different times this year, I had to get our security officer to run license plates. And I started calling people that were one night at the rodeo and I think auction night, because they were parked 3 cars deep. People couldn't get out. You know, so just the parking, you know, no defined parking spaces. We
I
actually.
think that's kind of what we need to look at as a whole. Master plan. Need a master plan for that whole
What do we
area.
need to do to move forward?
Scott, what do we need to do to move forward on this? Create a master plan. We need a master plan for that area.
Somebody come in and,
Give us a
and I think, to his point, I mean, there is other property around that we might look at. I
Well,
The city does have other properties.
but the properties that EDC has are connected to the airport.
No, but the city's got other properties out there for the EDC has too. We got property down south, I mean, we've got other property.
The property out 105, right past the bypass, going towards Conroe, where the few little buildings are that's been cleared. Is that not ESD property, EDC property, city property?
No, we're talking about,
He's talking about right here. He's
yeah,
talking about that property that we.
that's McKenzie, that's McKenzie. McKenzie.
Yes.
That's not our property.
Yeah, that's McKenzie. That's past, like going, before you get over the bridge, on the left.
But I definitely think location does play a part in it as well. Peach Street is not so much the ideal position. I mean, that's where it's at now, but it doesn't mean that it has to be in that position to be a permanent, you know, to keep it there.
I mean,
I guess I kind of feel like if we're gonna move it from that area, and it's just me speaking, but it's been there so long, I think you're gonna rub some people the wrong way. And I mean, I'm just saying, people that's been here for years in Cleveland, I think we get to talk about moving it to a different location, we might rub somebody.
But it's not to say you would not continue to utilize that facility or that ground. But I think if you're looking at parking, if you're looking at aesthetic-wise and things like that, we need to start being a little bit more strategic and a little bit more high-end in thinking, as far as like when we're dealing with certain things. We kind of sell ourselves a little short, and that we kind of need to, you know.
Well, another thing we talked about is, we just found out, I mean, you got the cemetery right next to it too. If you move that property that's in another piece, I mean, you still could use that property for city needs, but including cemetery where we're running out of space on both of our cemeteries that we have. So, I mean, that's potential future growth.
So,
if you're already having.
We know how much those spots are selling for now.
Long term.
Just saying. Just saying.
So I don't know, just to, I've shown.
I should have bought them all before they went up. I should have bought every one of those things.
I've showed it whenever I was a kid, from the time I was 9 years old here in Cleveland. You know, I graduated from Cleveland High School, but so it's been 15 years ago, maybe something like that. So Cleveland Livestock Show, Dairy Day at the time, it's now Cleveland Livestock Show, owned not only Stansel Park, they own where the police station is, the senior citizen, the community center, plus what we still own. At that time, the board that was at the time, they had a disagreement or something. Anyway, the city come to them and ask them, you know, give this to us and we will maintain it. Well, that's what happened. And the city used the property to build the police station. They used the property to build the senior citizen building, the civic center, and what's happening in Stansel Park. So that's just a little bit of the history I know on the place.
And it would be nice to bring back the fair. They used to have a fair that was connected.
Yeah. It was where the civic center
Where the civic center used to be.
So,
And I mean, it would be nice to be able to bring back the fair to the Cleveland Livestock Show, but you don't have anywhere really to put it other than on that 3.5 acres on that back side. So
they would be bogging in the area. So it's been asked by several different fairs if they would bring their rides, and they won't do it because of the ground. So, yeah. And that, the fair brings quite a bit of money into us that in return could be given a scholarship.
Yeah. So I guess again, what do we have to do
So now,
to
we
come
need
up
to-
with a master
John
plan,
has a homework.
strategic partnership?
Yeah,
put it on the
John's
agenda?
got some homework to do. I need to find us somebody to come up with a master plan probably and look at.
So can it be something we table till we have that?
Well, yeah, no, we are going to table it. We did, well, we need to.
Well, you're gonna probably have to fund that plan, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see some, a layout, if we can, get some layouts and different things of what we're actually trying to do, so we can have a direction to go into.
So, you know, May the 16th, we'll have a Cleveland Ice Chop Show board meeting. There's gonna be a lot of cussing and discussing going on, because it's our first meeting after our show. But,
We'll send you a week.
there you go.
So in other words, you want one of us there?
No, but I do welcome all of you, so that is,
Yeah, we'll be starting
We do thank you for inviting us. I know you did invite all of us to the auction, and I did want to thank you for inviting us all to the auction, by the way.
Yep. And thank you for the one that did that.
Where do y'all have y'all's meetings on May 16th?
At the log cabin.
At the log cabin? Okay. 6 p.m.?
6:30.
6:30 on May 16th.
Yeah. And like I say, that's gonna be a doozy.
That's the one we're doing.
6:30? Yeah, that's the one we need to go to, right there.
In June, we'll have our elections either in June or July, so I'm up for re-election, so y'all may not get to see me no more, but that's.
Well, I hear you'll be there. Okay, thank you. We will, we'll get to work on it. Thank you, BJ, very much. Roger, airport opportunities, expansions, and improvements. You got an update for us on our airport pavilion?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do, huh?
Get there.
May 16th at 6:30.
Yeah, Thursday night.
You what?
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
I have a copy, but that is,
Here's an extra one. Sticker shot. Could be more than that. Oh my God.
so,
I have airplanes out there and I don't like that, Brian. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
thank you very much, sir. So, this is a sketch of what you all approved as far as the square footage of the area behind the existing building. And you see you have an itemized list of what you wanted as far as the fencing, the concrete, using the wraps and the engineered drawings.
This is turnkey everything.
Yes, sir. Rather do it that way than have it piece to piece. I gave you a minute to look over these, information. However you want to do.
Has this gone to the airport board for consideration of the financing as well?
Well, it is already approved at the airport board as far as the pavilion. Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking about who, like, which board, like, who's contributing? Are they contributing money and asking EDC, kind of like a split thing, or are they looking for it all from EDC?
So,
I think somebody got good high hopes and dreams.
so, currently, the airport their budget is not it's just current. We just took the airport over in January. So obviously it's gonna build up for sure, but currently their budget's not gonna, sustain. I think the rest of our money, I think equals around, we have somewhere around 100 grand total. I mean, that's even with 88 grand from last year, probably.
When I made the deposit today, it was 158, I believe, in the account. It had, we received, grant revenue came in
Oh, okay.
for, 23, it was,
Yeah.
19,000.
So that's our entire money right this second, is about 1.5, 150. Obviously, it's gonna go up substantially with it being taken over in January. Now all the money is going to the city. Obviously, the bills out there go to salaries and maintenance and stuff. But yes, it is a profitable. It's probably the only major profitable business that the city has right now, I would think. Is that correct, ma'am?
Water and sewer.
You what? Water and sewer.
Don't forget one of them.
Yeah, I can't forget water and sewer. Sorry about that.
I was listening to you.
Yeah. Roger's like, oh, wait, John, wait, I got some too, it's not just you.
But this is a starting price, like, as you look at the fine print, where it says things such as purchaser would be responsible for unknown conditions like buried utilities and other things that they might run into. You look at 50% deposit is due, but then if you finance the rest, they have a 1.5% monthly finance charge for anything over 30 days. And if you look at taxes, it says taxes will be shown in a separate line item. I don't see taxes currently. It says subtotal and freight.
We're tax exempt.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's because of the payment. Okay. All right. I'm just making sure that it wasn't something.
And we know everything out there, that where this is going. I mean, it's an airport, you gotta know where every single thing is under the ground.
Okay.
And we know where everything, we know.
There's nothing out there in that
There's
area.
nothing, yeah, we know exactly what it is. That's just their seaway stuff for sure.
Standard format.
Okay.
Obviously, what's your thoughts, Roger? I mean, I know I'm also the president of the airport board, but that's a large sum, it's a sticker shock.
Just something to go to the board and see what they would suggest, what options they want to take.
I mean, you know what we want to take, to be honest.
So we give y'all that submitting, then
Good job.
Can let's do that. Can we get some more quotes? Can we get some bids now that we have this? Can we send it out for some bids and see what's y'all's thoughts on it?
Well, I mean,
Even though
look it over.
this is a buy board
This is
situation,
a buy board.
this is a buy board, it's competitive. But, yeah.
You can get other buy board quotes.
Oh, okay.
We can get other buy-in quotes. Well, I think the reason they did this design more than anything is that's what matches, if y'all haven't been to the airport yet, it looks identical to our APO, our main terminal building at the airport. And we wanted, I think they originally it wasn't going to be like this, but they wanted to spruce it up to where we could use it and possibly rent it out for other venues. We've had some weddings out there in the past. We've had other events at the airport, and but we don't have any place to actually do them. So that was kind of the idea of being able to utilize this of more than just an observation. I don't know. Scott, if if you had $200,000, would you use it still for this, or would you do something, and I'm just asking, because I'm just, just asking.
Well, let's use that.
Would you use it for this, or would you use it for some T-shelters to create money, to add money, and do this later, or would you? I mean, I know the airport board's already approved a pavilion, but, I don't know, I'm just thinking outside the box. T-shelters are gonna bring $200 a
That's
month.
something that you want to consider, I mean,
$200,000.
one of the things that the airport keeps pushing is we need more places to rent, we've got a long way in for airplanes.
I mean, T-shelters aren't gonna need this much, or if it is, you're gonna create,
But then
20
T-shelters
T-shelters
are
is gonna
great
create
for
$4,000 a month.
Yeah.
On just 20 T-shelters.
You did 20
T-shelters is
T-shelters.
$8,000. You what?
If you did 20 T-shelters out there, you know, that'd be generating money, $100 something a month. You
Or
know.
200 a month. If, I think we did the study, it was around 150 to 250 months. What's the difference? 200 a month if you spent this.
We've
amount.
got the area observed, we don't have to, I mean, it's the area, we've got the canopy over or the back patio that people can sit on, I mean.
Just the
I
business
think
side of it.
there's other things that you need to consider all that, so.
I mean, the business side of me for EDC, and I'm just, y'all are the board, obviously, but the business side of me, spending $200,000, and it might not be the popular
I mean,
thing,
from
but.
the EDC standpoint, if you're gonna spend $200,000
I want some money coming back
at the
out.
airport, you can put this in, and then the airport can pay you back. And then you can do something,
Well, that's the
we got $1
thing,
million
that's the thing, if we
arena we're
spend
looking at.
$200,000 out of EDC, that the airport can pay that money back every month immediately. You know, if you have 20 or 40 T-shelters at, 200 apiece, that's $8,000 a month, we could have our money coming back to EDC immediately. If we do a pavilion, we're not gonna have that money coming back.
And you got other major projects that you're looking at, you know.
Quonset hut, you got other things that's gonna create money, and $200,000 is a lot. My opinion.
But, I mean, if you're gonna do that large of a pavilion, I mean, it's gonna cost some money. If you do it right, it's gonna cost some money. But right now may not be the time to do that. Wait till you have the money to do the funding, to do it properly, and do what you need now that can also help.
I think I would rather us look at maybe skipping this, even though I know the airport board's already said that they'd like to have a pavilion out there, but skipping this and using that money to create revenue, to create money.
Well, I think you'd be looking at it in a couple of different ways, that one of them, but two, some of the other big outlay items that we're looking at going forward, it's not an add-on, these are much more they're in the need phase. You know, I mean, these are.
And we have a waiting list of 80-something people that are verified now, as of a few weeks ago, that have been verified, ready to rent.
So I think, looking at something that's gonna bring some revenue back to us, looking at, to help fund those other projects that are in need, and if we're gonna spend that kind of money is, I think, more responsible than looking at the pavilion at this time.
That's kind of my idea too, I think. What, Rachel, Chuck, Heidi, LB, what do y'all think? Go ahead,
The airport board can potentially, yes or no, take a loan. Like, at some point, if they want a $200,000 pavilion, could they take a loan and finance it through whatever revenue they have without having to come to the EDC?
No.
So they can't go.
No, that's what basically the EDC is for. That's what, and to take a loan out for the airport, that's taking a bond out from the city.
I guess I agree. I don't think it's a priority need at this time, and I don't think with that price tag it's something. I mean, you have a good idea, but I don't necessarily think it's something that needs to move forward immediately.
Well, speaking as treasurer, maybe I don't do this very often, but I'm going to be concerned about return on investment. And if the priority sounds like to me out there is getting the hangers up, you've got a waiting list. What'd you say it was, 80 people?
It's 80 something, 86, something like that. And those are confirmed with people ready to move in right now.
No, I'd say your priorities there and, you know, hey, return on investment.
Obi?
I mean, I'm just agreeing with what they said. It makes more sense. And then, I mean, later on in the future, maybe we can work our way toward the road, you know, maybe we can get there over this instead of the tomorrow. Maybe we can get that. Just saying.
Building, give them a pay barn.
Hey, that's how to post, so you know.
I mean, looking at a number like that, I'd rather just put a building out there.
So the airport's getting the old pavilion and the projector.
Sorry for your bad luck, airport.
Thank you very much.
Roger, thank you very much. You did a jam-up job on it for sure. I think the sticker shock, sticker shock got us. But, and I know on both. Anything else on any of that? C. Completion beautification of pavilion area for old fire station pavilion. Roger. I think we're headed in the right direction on that.
So, y'all have seen the old fire station area with the pavilion over there. So, the only thing lacking is the shrubs, the greenery, the edges, and some sprinkler system type. So keep the grass green at all times.
We're doing new sod there, correct?
And the sod, correct. And yes, and then we just put lights on the building showing towards the mirror. Yeah, so we did put some lights on there. It's looking pretty good, so that's what's left.
We are working with energy.
Yes, we are doing that to enhance the area, so we ought to put another pole, 2 poles?
3 poles.
3 poles, and put lights on it, so it's kind of,
The acorn lights that we've got downtown with our renovations, we're gonna put 3 of those in that park as well. But we're working with energy. Right now, they're saying that that's about a year out.
Right.
It'll take about a year to get ordered, but they're gonna work on trying to get them completed. But we're working with them. That'll be the end result, putting those 3 lights up out there.
and also that y'all working with us on the skate park with a light from the nearby transformer halfway down, so the light would be actually shown on the skate park.
Currently, we've got 2 poles right there by the pavilion that have lights on. We're gonna remove those old poles, put 1 power pole next to the property line by the
housing
authority,
Yeah.
and then shine the lights away from the housing authority so they won't be flooded. Shine them away from there, the 2 spotlights on that 1 pole, shining on the skate park in that area, now lighting up.
Roger, I have one question on the old fire station, the renovation there. I drove by it, I saw it, and it might have been mid, whatever was going on. I didn't see it in the last 72 hours. But when I drove by, it looked like the concrete that was laid, that like goes through like the, I guess the parking road type area, and then where you would walk to the pavilion. It looked more or less like a curb, like you'd have to step up. And my only question was if there's any type of ADA accessibility. Have we provided a ramp or something for people in wheelchairs to get up, or is it just a curb style?
The side towards Hanson, it has a ramp, sidewalk ramp that goes to the pavilion. So make access, it's ADA compliant.
Okay, excellent. Like I said, whenever I passed, I don't know what stage it is, and it just looked like.
I'll double look at this, it's ADA compliant.
Being where that's located at, Roger, are we gonna end up wanting to do a fence around that area? Because of what I'm thinking is kids out there playing, doing a birthday party out there, ball goes out in the street, you got 2 streets, even though there's a stop sign there, but.
Time will tell.
I mean, time will tell that we wait to see if somebody can over, or time will tell that we have to do something ahead of time? Activity level, how much is being used? What's your thoughts?
We'll look into that more closely after we get Yes,
Not the
the
landfill.
rotary will close for the
They
tables.
should work on us too.
For the tables.
Yeah.
For the tables, because I know the tables are here, we just need to make sure that they're in place
Secure.
before
Yeah, so
we have the ribbon cutting next month on the 28th.
Yeah,
So we need to, Brenda, you can help us work with that,
Yeah.
see if we can make sure and get them.
You what about it?
No, sorry. You just- Those there, anything else?
I believe so. That's what I was told. Picnic tables and chairs, picnic tables.
Just to tell them.
Yeah, they do.
Look at the whole, combo.
And we are on budget on that? Uh-oh. I guess I shouldn't ask that question, huh?
Well, the rest is coming from, Fox.
Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, so-
How much is having to come from Parks and Recreation?
I want to say it's 3,000.
3,000 on top of what he's already given?
It came out to be 23 and change, something of that, in that ballpark.
Pam, I did thank y'all earlier, you and Tiffany, for answering all of our questions, and you know, you won't check the other day, and we just appreciate all the help very much.
No problem at all.
Anything else on the, anything else on the new pavilion? We want to keep an
Big
update on that?
beautification of downtown. You want to ask about one of the projects that you have in your budget is $30,000 for murals for downtown.
Well, come on up, Ashley.
That's $30,000 for murals. And so
So she's-
Ashley has been working with the people that have done our murals, and she has a quote for doing the side of the museum.
So, I've been working with, Sherry Minkin. She's the one who actually has done a lot of the murals around town. I did look at, I think this was previously discussed with her as far as getting a mural put on the side of the museum. As you're coming, east on Booth, yes. Yes. On Booth, over the Travis Rower tracks there. And you're looking at the side of the historical museum there. It's a blank wall. I think there's some shrubs that are there, but they can be removed. That is the ideal place for a mural. The mural
That's going to be on the side of the museum building?
Correct.
So that's actually coming east, it's on the west side of the museum.
That truck route, that's,
Yeah.
yes, going, yes. The side facing where they just tore down the building there. Correct. The mural, which I'll have to pass this down to you guys because I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I can email it to you.
How much is the mural?
But the mural is, $10,500.
Just got to change.
Yes. I originally, I know that you guys have it in your budget to do a downtown mural. I did talk to Scott because in the hotel motel, as far as tourism goes, that could be something as well where possibly we could split it. She does require half as a deposit. I think it was like $5,250 as far as a deposit to get that started. But it is a very nice mural. It actually looks like a postcard. And it says Cleveland, Texas on it. It's very colorful, very vibrant. Has a train actually in the postcard, kind of going back to that history there.
And so did you say, just if you don't mind backing up for me just for a second, did you say that, so the total on it's how much?
$10,500.
And did you say we're splitting it with someone, or did you want the whole?
Well, I was throwing that option out there. I know that
EDC has funding for downtown murals already in the budget.
How much do we have left on that, Pam?
We've not said anything.
We have 30,000.
We have 30,000.
We have 30,000 on it.
You do it too, John.
Actually, is there any timber within that? Because I know if you go to the museum and they talk about the history of the timber in the area and everything, is that part of that design? You mentioned the trains.
The train actually does not have, or that design does not have any type of timber. It just has,
Another one that has timber.
But, I mean, we could do another one, but that specific one is very, and I can, like I said, I could send it to you so that you could see it, but it's just very vibrant. I feel like it's the truck route, so you want something that kind of catches the eye. It's heavily traveled as far as going out 787 and things like that. A lot of people go home that way.
I was just wondering if it could be tied into the museum and the theme behind it and the historic way so that, you know, it draws people also to visit them as well. And like, you know, maybe they give some info on the design. I mean, it's beautiful the way it is. I was just curious having, and I know that the museum is always looking for volunteers and looking for people to know it's there and to go in and visit. So
I definitely think as far as the color, it will definitely put them kind of more on the map. It'll be something that's very attractive. I think a lot of the murals are not very, I mean, they're very nice, all of them, but there's nothing that's very colorful. There's nothing that's very picturesque to where you would have people that want to actually stop and take a picture or use that as a backdrop or something like that. So when I talked to her and when we kind of, she came up with the design, but I kind of just fed her like what we were looking for, but something that was very colorful. And I went through and kind of found other murals that, you know, made for a nice, attractive backdrop.
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. I make a motion that we approve the $10,500 to have this mural painted on the side of the museum.
No, it's not.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Under the other.
Yeah, we should be able to do it under, beautification. Yeah.
It's updates, so we have to do it. But I mean,
Didn't they add at the very top before they started, like number 7, that it says discussion and possible action for all of the below? Correct?
but it's not listed as a discussion, I was only discussing as an update.
I can bring it back. I'm
So
sorry.
can
We just got this information, so
Yes, it came today.
It came today, so.
Yes.
Next time.
I want you to give it to you. Can we get it done under this last one? I think everybody's on board, obviously. Can you make it happen?
I mean, y'all are good with them, we don't even have to, really,
Okay,
money
so make a
there, we
motion.
can approve. I mean, we can get direction if that's the case.
Okay, I have a motion by Ivy. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by, I have a second. Brent, thank you. Well, I'm listening to Danielle trying to do two, but we don't have a second one, do we? Danielle just wanted 2 of them. Okay, I have a motion by Heidi to approve it for $10,500 on the side of the museum. A second by Brent, all in favor?
Does Pat know yet?
No, she's gonna be excited. I told her I was working on this, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we were kind of discussing that, you know, I guess months back." And she's like, "It never went anywhere." So no, I can't wait to surprise her.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Well, everybody is, it was unanimous. Okay, motion carries unanimously for the one mural. One right now. Y'all gotta bring another one back to us, trust me. Ashley, or Rachel was talking about this a while back. Literally. She's been. All good?
Well, I mean, again, we bring this for y'all for information tonight.
Well, we wanted to give it to you. so
And we can go ahead and move forward, but we still gotta find some more information out.
Okay.
If we
Y'all go ahead
can.
and move forward.
It's beyond our $5,000 limit, so we have to look at other options. We want to give you information. I can take the direction, y'all just provided direction tonight.
We got the direction.
You got the direction. You're
I can
good.
sign off on $10,000.
Perfect.
But we just,
We're good.
we're
That shouldn't have to come
we're gonna
back to
move
us.
forward. It was just an update.
Emilio's shaking his head.
Emilio's like, we don't need to bring this back to y'all.
We don't have to come back to y'all, but
That's.
we got the direction.
We got the direction.
It was an update.
We're good, yeah, we all like it, for sure. Anything else? Everybody good? Motion to adjourn?
Make a
No?
motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second?
Second motion.
LB seconds it, we are adjourned, all in favor, good?